I think we're
Check my
live.
sound. Don't. Oh,
I think we're live. Oh, sorry. Were you not ready?
no, it's all right. I was gonna check the sound real quick.
Well,
It's all right. Is
um,
there echo?
a little bit, but
Um,
um, yeah, there's echo and thumps, but let's see. Let me get this set up. Hi, everybody. If you can hear me, I wish I was good at this. Someday, I'm gonna be good at this. I'm gonna be awesome. Woo! Hello, 007. What are you even doing today? Hi, buddy. Oops. I wish I could type too. Hi, Ian. Welcome everybody to the Saturday chat. It might be the afternoon for you, but it is the morning for some of you too. And either way, welcome. So I just posted a video and I'm getting quite a response of comments that I feel bad ignoring. Um, but maybe they'll join us on the chat. Um, what up, Unirock? Dude, I see lies. Hello, I see lies. Where did testimonial truth go? She's still there. Oh yeah. Are you're muted? Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I'm thinking I'm gonna sign in with my phone, but I don't want it to do any craziness.
You're
So,
really loud. I think.
oh
Yeah.
wow.
Here, let me. I could probably turn you down. Let me
All
see.
right, I can turn me down.
I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I can. I just don't know exactly how.
All right, I really do want to try my phone real quick,
Go
just
for it.
to see. So I'm gonna
Okay.
mute here. If it does
Uh,
anything crazy, I'll hit the exit. All right.
okay. All right. Anything crazy? Yeah, I don't expect any craziness at all, except all the craziness of the Mandela effect combined.
I think there's two of me. Can you hear me?
There are two of you. That's pretty weird.
Is there any echoing?
There, no, no, not
So,
on that channel.
so it's
But
much better with my. All right.
let's see. Oh, my cosmic friends. Hello. Is it Serdar? Serdar? Is that how you say your name? Banners. Hi, Susanna. Cool.
007. It's coming through.
What is?
Well, there will just be two of me so that I can see the screen.
Yes, it is how you say it. Okay, cool. Welcome everybody. We are trying to be well, we're pretending that we're technically savvy today. And so and so if we seem like we're technically savvy, then we are effectively pretending. But yeah, I wish I was good at this. But anyway, banners like we are talking the forbidden things. Like the lambada, the forbidden dance. No.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I just posted a video that was actually a piece of the hangout from last time, and I included on the end of it some historical CERN from 1952, basically, and yeah, Barcelona. Oh yeah, so Barcelona. That okay? If I understand it correctly, it there was people got run over by a van or something, right? And that was just like what, less than a week after um, the Virginia incident, right? In Charlottesville, where people got run over by a big
Mm-hmm.
car. And that's horrifying. I mean, honestly, I know it would seem like that would be maybe a, false flag event on both fronts, but I don't know. I don't get that feeling. I don't I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to use intuition and I'm not confident about it. So, could be a case of some of those. It won't load. I don't know what you mean, Joe, but that's
What's not loading?
yeah. What's not loading? Oh yeah, no. Now the ISIS part of it, you're right. 007. The false flag that ISIS claimed responsibility. I don't think that. I mean, honestly, ISIS, if you look at the history of it, is well, I don't want to say it's made up, but it's it comes from a long line of lies about there being some terrorist organization that is, together enough and funded enough to have some kind of a threat to anybody in the world. And the fact is, millions were killed before even America got involved. I mean, involved opposing the what was ISIS used to be called, like the Taliban, and was called, like, I don't know. It's been rebranded
Mm-hmm.
so many times. Hi, Somer. Welcome. Long, long line of lies. Yes, no. yes, no.
No,
No, and 007. I mean, 00. Gosh. I read it as 007.
oh,
Like your O face. Oh. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
totally double O.
Dibbly. Um, freedom fighters, Taliban. Yes, Al Shabaab. Now, I'm not familiar with Al Shabaab. Thank you, Austin. Yes, exactly. And they really, freedom fighters, I think, was originally the correct term, because they were indeed fighting for their freedom. I haven't done a video about it, but I probably should about now. There's I found a discrepancy. Osama bin Laden, as I knew him to be called, his name is actually spelled with a U. Usama. Usama actually means lion. And what's funny is the CIA and FBI, all of the federal documents, and there's even a huge court case against Usama bin Laden, and all of them list his name as being Usama, not Osama. So they don't even list it as an alias, the Osama part. And I'm more familiar with Osama bin Laden. But anyway, when it was reported that he was killed, which I think was, I don't know, that was all. I think he died a long time before that. And there's a lot of evidence of that. But anyway, when it was reported, people were confused because it said Usama and it said Osama. Yes, Wendy Williams, they certainly do. Oh, Wendy Williams, sorry. They do lie a lot to people. And it's silly. I feel like it's silly by now. We should be more clairvoyant. We should at least all have evolved to a basic knowing when somebody is lying to us. And I feel like as a race, as a human race, we don't we don't have that. It seems like a lot of people trust what politicians say, and I don't think there have been any straight politicians for a long time. But just my personal. Welcome, Billy. Welcome, James. Miss Collective, may I ask that if the whole world was blind, how many people would you bother to wake up, and who would that be? Wake up from blindness? I I wouldn't myself feel that I could have all the information to choose wisely. I would seek the divine force to help me choose if it was up to me to choose. But that's a very hypothetical conundrum. I like that question. It makes me think. Let's see. Ding, 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 ding. He was a silent agent for British intelligence or CIA, wasn't he? I've found only evidence that let's see, when the when those when the Middle Easterners, because it was a few of them, were involved with a war, the Russians, that was when the CIA worked with Osama bin Laden, and that was actually in the late 80s to early 90s. But throughout the 80s and 90s, millions of people were killed in the Middle East, and it was such genocide that, like, I think that everything else is just lies to cover up the genocide. CIA trained to fight the Russians in the 80s in one timeline. Anyway, yeah, right, in one timeline. We can't even, let's see, fluoride and colorants and chemicals in food and drink to dumb the brain and stop our true powers. And I'm glad you brought up fluoride, because I would like to say, anybody who thinks that, you know, the lie of fluoride being good for our teeth, the fluoride that is in our water is actually runoff from factories. It's like toxic runoff. It's not the fluoride that's in our toothpaste. That is totally different stuff. Totally different. This is it's a nuclear waste, basically, or if not nuclear, it's waste. It's a waste product, but it's disgusting. And it was an excuse for industries to continue doing that I think that they put fluoride in our toothpaste and acted like it was the same fluoride, and that they're doing it for our teeth. But, you know, sunblock you use on your skin, you don't drink it to keep yourself sunblocked. I mean, same thing with fluoride. You wouldn't drink it, you wouldn't ingest it to help your teeth, which are, you know, the enamel. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I can't believe they got away with that lie for so long. But hey, Rally, I was trying to find your post that you were talking about, and I need more explicit instructions, I guess. Agreed. He died years before they announced. Oh, you know what, Wendy? You don't ever have to apologize for your bad English. I want to apologize on behalf of all Americans for only knowing freaking terrible, disgusting English. We are so absent of the fact that most people in most countries know at least 2 languages, and I commend all of you for not being American. Not saying I don't have American pride. Well, I mean, I don't know. I have human pride. I don't really like all the countries, divisions, and I don't like division in general. I don't think we need categories, and I don't think we need to exclude everybody from you know, being human. Lugol's iodine that counters fluoride accumulation. Oh, cool. Yeah, actually, I've read into that. The whole thing with them dumping his body into the ocean. I know, right? That whole, well, and all of the Navy SEALs that wasn't it Navy SEALs that they all died. They all went down in this terribly sinister, like, event. It shouldn't have been it shouldn't have happened. They put them in this really old plane, all those Navy SEALs, and they all died. And it was the way the news reported it even was, it was sickening to me. It was ritualistic. All of these things seem like deeply satanic rituals, and that's why I default to infiltrators. We've been infiltrated by beings other than human that have the ability to move throughout time and space differently. I mean, I don't know exactly how it happens. That's what all my research leads me back to. And I eat, sleep, and breathe research, man. I eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Can't get enough.
Sometimes 10 hours a day, on the day, every day. No.
More, please. I
am your research buddy.
Yeah, for real. For real. Yeah, we come to profound realizations. Fact is, Maya, Aztec, Inca, Navajo suggest do not see eclipse of the sun. They say, wait, so you're saying, Raleigh, that they suggest not to look at it, or that it's not going to happen? What? I need more information. And what you think that CERN itself may be an effect as well. You know my meaning. You know, Raleigh, I might just have to, like, get you on a phone call because I don't know. You have a lot to say, and I want to hear it.
Same here.
Let's see. We've been fed lies since the day we were born. Yep. The pharma companies together. Oh, don't get me started on the pharma companies. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, I have so much to say about them. But if you don't have anything nice to say, then make a poster. and yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
That is a long year, Double O. Man,
I was
16 hours a day for a whole year, pretty much researching, because essentially his profession. That's a lot of work.
let's see. Okay, so Rally, what I would need is your email to put you on this call, but because actually, you know what? I want to tell all my friends right now, anybody who has my phone number and has been trying to call me for, I don't know, the last 2 months, I have abandoned my phone. It stopped working. It started just resetting itself over and over and over and over and over, just a loop. And so I decided, it was time to not have a phone for a minute. And I just love it. It's just the best. So forgive me for for not answering, but if anybody's tried calling me over the last couple months, I don't even have a phone, and I love it. It's like being, I don't know, it's like a world I have never known. Let's see. Have you heard about the whistleblower on 4chan claiming cause to the Mandela effect? He claims to be a clone in multiverse. I don't think one person could have done things throughout time, like Egypt, for one thing. Egypt, ancient Greece, they seem to have new histories. Hey, if you watched my most recent video, CERN circa 2002 or so seems to have new timeline history. So it's not one person or one. If it's one entity, then it's the Borg. No, it's like a hive mind type of situation where it's one and all. You're a musician. Oh, that's right. That's right. 007, you were the one that did that amazing Mandela Effect rap, aren't you? I was thinking about that the other day. I wanted to add vocals to it. All right. I popped in to say your videos are great. Hey, thank you. Veritas chick. Is that after the I don't know if I'm saying that right. Veritas telescopes, the satellite, or the not satellites. They're like a field of four telescopes. Anyway, and they're looking for dark matter. Muhaha. No, Rally, you're leaving? Where are you leaving? Dang it. Did I miss something? Sorry, I'm trying to keep up.
I'm trying to help. Let me look back.
Rally. Okay, I see. You say, guess I'm not serious. I'm trying to run a live cast. It's hard, and I'm not good at it. So please forgive me. I'm trying to keep up with this. Did you leave your email? Or see, I don't want to ask you to put your email publicly on this chat where everyone can see it and such, but and I don't have a way to text you, otherwise I would. That at least makes it a little more fun then. That's you. 33 days later, apparent prophecy. History is changing all the time. It's a bigger picture, though. We just never touched it before. No, noticed it before. Yes, true. And that's the thing about quantum behavior. Like when something changes quantum, it's across time and space instantly. It's not even the blink of an eye. It's, hey, thanks, Summer. You're awesome. Hello, Shay. Does anyone know what year Verb is officially saying they built their first facility? Verb. Oh, you mean CERN? Yes. Or if you mean CERN, then it was started, I believe, I want to say 1948. Most of them were started right coming out of the of World War II, and they were started under the guise of being nuclear facilities, like Department of Defense funded facilities, and a lot of them are still getting money from the Department of the Defense, but they have also got money coming in, and I'm talking billions of dollars, to fund for there being also an Department of Energy program. I'm sorry, Department of Energy. Yeah. The DOE, the DOE. The DOE, dear. The ME is a result of our own ascension as our group consciousness ascends, as we shift to timelines more in tune with our ascension, in your opinion? Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we all know enough to know we don't know, right? Seeking Truth, text me. My email is getoffthecrack at nocrack.net. I love that. I'm assuming that was a clever joke, and there is not, in fact, a nocrack.net. But if they are, someone's a genius. All right, on the Atlantic, and watch raptors hunt fish in high winds a lot, and have spent a month seeing if any get stuck in a place while hunting or flying in wind. Nothing like the mind-blowing video you posted. Oh, well, thank you, Billy Johnson. Appreciate it. You know, that the birds video I was reluctant to do, but I had seen so many posts with birds standing still, or, you know, flying or hovering, not moving, just looking. It just looks wrong. It just, you know, hits you hard, and it's like, that's wrong. Your brain tries to fight with you. But anyway, I didn't want to do the bird video because, I don't know, it didn't impact me as much as the planes. I guess because I saw a plane in person, you know. Hello, Oxygen. Oh, hey, Mandela Effect Comedy. What up, brother? I've been looking up stuff about time crystals. Get some stuff. I'm going to message you soon. Cool, cool, cool. Yes, I love your messages. They change my entire world, and in a good way. Not that there's much truth in Rome, but hey. Well, you know, I feel like that there is a lot of, I don't know, Roman and Greek words and gods and thinkings seem to be popping up all over everything I research. Let's see. Seeking Truth says, why do you think they want everyone to look at the eclipse come Monday? Some sort of satanic ritual? I don't know. I think we can only speculate that.
I've been speculating a little.
I think that God would, you know, cover it with clouds if it would hurt us. But I guess I would like to hope that. Self-contented. Aw. Do you always self-contented? Are you raising your hand? You have a question? I don't know. Let's see. Concave lenses. I like that. Hello, Leonard. Hi there, self-contented. I witnessed that a week after I saw the bird video. Dang it. Loyalty makes you family. I didn't see what you said. Let me look. Anonymous 2017. CERN was never innocent. I like the way you say that. Hello, Kinsey. Welcome back. Yay! I've been so excited about this all week. Let's see.
I'm pulling up new windows, so bear with.
New windows.
I'm trying to pull up. Somebody says, look up. Where'd go?
Well, I mean, we can, but
okay.
I need to write stuff down.
I search that real quick.
You know what? Hey, will you? I need to go. I just realized I don't have a piece of paper and pencil. I was unprepared for class. Hi, Freeman Cryptoverse. So hey, you talk for a second. Okay. Okay. Testimonial. Okay. I'll be right back, everybody.
All right, guys. We are in the house with just me. Little fish in a big pond, but I love being a part of everything with you guys. So let's see. What do we think is going to happen with the eclipse? I think some of the birds are going to go a little wonky, and maybe some of the other animals, little deer. So,
oh yeah, I'm glad you're talking about that.
Careful. Yeah, I want them to be careful if they're traveling, because it could. Mandela Effect Comedy, thank you, in the house.
Thank you. Loyalty makes you family. For you saw a bird flying stuck in the air. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm an interrupter.
It's okay. We both do that. So
knock knock. Who's there? Interrupting Camus or something. I don't know that. Let's see. No, the dog ate it. Yes, the dog ate my homework. I didn't get the assignment. No. Any other targeted people here by ELF? You know, that is a real thing, and I personally am not. I'm not putting it out of my mind that it could happen, though. Testimonial truth in the house. Mandela Effect Comedy, you're so funny.
I hope that I'm not. I don't think I am,
N-O-P.
but I
Nothing.
yeah. I mean, I've had some strange things happen, and I've noticed some things, but I
What? Hey, Kimberly Wilson, what are you talking about? The black sky thing the government has planned after the eclipse? I mean, the government has planned? I mean, because I've heard, hi, DJ Stereophonic. I've heard, hi, Jeannie Lunatic. Jeannie Lunatic, you're here. Oh my gosh. Hi. I just sent you a bunch of songs this morning. Jeannie Lunatic is my Patreon supporter. Woo!
double O's gotta go. I think. I think. Let me check. Yeah.
Black
All right.
sun, black sky. Sorry, go ahead. What'd you say, testimonial?
Oh no, I was telling them like, peace out. We'll see you later.
Oh, man.
Double O leaving out. So
Double O, you're always just creeping in and creeping out. Okay.
creep it in.
We'll see you later, man.
Yeah. Where are we at?
Icy Lies says, I'm super sensitive to RF of any kind. Really, Icy Lies? I'm so sorry to hear that, man. That's wow. You know, I don't know if you've seen that show Call Saul, Better Call Saul, but they have his brother on that show is well, I mean, really it's in his head on the show, and I don't like that because it's like, and I love that show. It makes me mad when I love a TV show because it's got conditioning and, you know, suggestive predictive programming and just all kinds of. Should listen to Gilbert. Gilbert, go to jail. Stop paying your taxes. Oh, Gilbert Sanchez, stop paying your taxes. Well, you know, there's a lot of oh, so okay, I'm sorry, I'm skipping around. So Kimberly Wilson was mentioning the black sky thing, and she says FEMA exercises. I have not heard of that. It's written down now to look into, but yeah, I'll have to look into that. If you want to give us more info. Did I affect some history by commenting? Hectic Haze Gaming, that would be pretty impressive.
The codesearcher.com Bible code videos on eclipse. Okay.
Oh, Jenny Lunatic. Okay. The code searcher.
Yeah. The smart meters make it worse. All right. Leonard, government drills coming up, EMP simulations. Seriously? DJ?
Wow. Oh, wow. So, okay. So, but haven't they been doing that? I mean, I feel like that if it's reported, like, what are your sources? Because not that I'm questioning it. I'm just, no, yeah, I'm wondering because I feel like anything that's reported is sort of, you know, it's hard to know where quote unquote they want our attention. You know,
I was gonna say, does it make you think back to They Live, your video? I mean, that tripped me out. Well, seriously, you know, yeah. Like what?
I mean, I come back to that all the time. That it is. I mean, in my opinion, John Carpenter with They Live really tapped into something, and he's not even aware of how much he did. He thinks that it's about the Reagan administration and how they were, you know, ineffective. And he always is quoted saying, you know, the Reagan administration never ended. We're still in the 80s. So anyway, but I think it's the infiltrators. Let's see. The Council for the Dark Skies thing is called Earth X. Whoa, never heard. Earth X, like as in X, Earth, like the old Earth, or the used to be Earth, like no longer going out with Earth, so you're the X. Sorry.
I'm looking for a picture here in a minute. So I'll get to it. But what happened with the lady on your video?
21.
Where she saw the kill and it was backwards behind her?
Yes.
All right. So, and you know how she emphasized that she wasn't essentially looking for that?
Uh-huh.
Right? And it happened. So yes. With this picture that I took a while back where I mean, no kidding, it looked like I wasn't looking for that either. But it's like two moons were in my picture. And much like her, I didn't look at that picture right away. I had actually overlooked it and didn't see it till the next day. I didn't realize what I had caught. I have no idea how that happened. I don't. I can only share what was going on around that time. But it made me think about that, what she said, and then what happened to me. It was like where the moon had been versus where it traveled. So I don't get it. I don't know how to explain it. I can share the picture and I let everyone kind of formulate your own thoughts around it. I'm still thinking on it, and I have not done a video just yet, although I have spoke about it on a few other channels, and another's made a video with it. I have to find time to catch up for videos. So
Hey, so first of all, Fatima, love you too. And second of all, let's see. So I'm trying to write down everything you guys are saying. So black sky is a MIL exercise. What do you mean by that? Exercise a couple days after the eclipse. Jenny says, I think the eclipse is a harbinger, an omen to quote war for America. I definitely think that something's brewing, man. Honestly, I feel like they're gonna like humiliate Trump or something. I mean, there's so much hate riding and so much passion for Trump and hate on the other side. I mean, it's like this weird paradox, and I feel like the Virginia incident was the first bloodshed of the upcoming times. I mean, I just felt very strongly. I kind of have been dreading a protest ending in deaths like it did, and that was really weird about the police officers dying or not. I don't know how related all that was. It was very weird. I mean, it's quite possible that right now we're witnessing in real time, several possible realities because the outcomes have just, the uncertainty is, it's multiplying, it's compiling on top of each other. Girls, I'm a screen printer and would love to print you shirt for free so you can sell them to your subs. Wow, what would I put on it though?
yeah, and
I'll be like, turn up the
me. I'm photo searching real quick, so I'm not keeping up.
Oh, okay, okay. So hopefully you can donate the money you make to the homeless and veterans. That would be wonderful. I would love to do that. I'm not an organized person here. I'll write your email down, Gilbert. GSS Screenworks LLC@gmail.
I think I have found it. Let's see. How do I get it over there?
How do you do it? Military. Type speed test. Mil equals military. I was like, why is everybody's consciousness saying that? I forgot I asked. Thank you, everybody, for that answer. Military. You learn something every day. Someone point out that the eclipse splits America down the middle, which seems symbolic of a divide. Yes, it does seem to split it down the middle. And every time I look up, like if it's going to be visible in my area, I get totally different answers. I don't think they really know. Juju Eyeballs, best name ever. I hope. Let's see. He says, "Oh, I lost it. Sorry."
Okay.
What's up in Boston?
I got it up, I think.
What is up in Boston? Cray.
I just need to turn the computer screen a little higher.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so joint drill in South Korea involving 25,000 U.S. soldiers on Eclipse Day. Okay. Regular annual drill just happened to schedule the same day as the eclipse. Well, I'm sure that's just neither here nor there. No, I'm sure that's very significant. That's crazy too. That is crazy. Anonymous 2017. I didn't see what you said. Google News on Obama expected to return in fall to politics. By the way, Obama, I read something the other day because I'm working on a video about when and how the name Trump came into the Bible and what I think it has to do with things. And I read an article that was a good article, except that it said, don't get lost in conspiracy theories like how Obama is the Antichrist, because Barack Obama is the Hebrew words for fell to the ground like lightning. And so literally, I saw Satan fall to the ground like lightning is saying, I saw Satan fall to the ground like Barack Obama. And I mean, it really points out. Anyway, the article said, that obviously that didn't happen and that was not real. But I definitely think we can't discount anything. Things are still a brewing. And I feel like Obama is still very much involved in the UN, which is the self-declared New World Order pushers. They just keep rebranding things, you know, but they're like, no person left behind, no one left behind. We're gonna end all. What do they say? They're gonna end mortality, and I'm like, how do you end being mortal? Kill everyone? What are you? I mean, it's a spooky thing. Operation Dark Skies is August 23rd. Oh, thank you. I didn't know if it was August or September. Let's see.
All right. I think
Frequency,
I have
light sound can be used to manipulate DNA. Look it up. Yes, actually, well, and our frequency. So the Schumann resonance. Miss Freedom. Obama smells like sulfur, so they say. Oh goodness, that gives me the heebie-jeebie willies. Mm-hmm. Let's see. See, for me, this eclipse is a Mandela effect because I know I saw one as a kid. Full eclipse, really? But I guess, yeah, not since it's been 99 years. I've heard other things too. I've heard 110 years. I've just heard crazy stuff. And I mean, I don't know. I heard the Air Force would be following the eclipse in the air. I don't understand how they would do that. Yeah, good point. How would they do that? Or what their objectives would be. Good point. Yeah, well, I think that reporting that is just fear provoking. I mean, I can't imagine why else you would report such a thing, because I agree with you that there are questions like, how can you, number one, follow the eclipse? How can you follow the moon? And why would you do that? That's,
you're talking about the moon. I got that picture up. Let me know if you can see it.
I think there are multiple antichrists. Ooh, I like that Mandela Effect comedy. Duh. Yeah, it's so obvious. Everyone thinks it is a person rather than those working against the teachings of Christ. Man, it's like you make so much sense, man. It's like, you know, I know you're comedy, but dang, you're so right. You're like Mandela Effect comedy facts. Okay, so I saw one in my 20s. They're lying. Yeah, well, they're lying, or they're honestly, we don't know anymore enough information to make. I mean, things are so strange with alternate historical events and timelines, and then there's the claimed, you know, alternate facts and fake news agendas, and those are even more confusing on top of it. So Chad Collier, hey Adam Anderson, I read the full post you referred to earlier, and I couldn't help but wonder how you are so sure about there being 4 dominant timelines, realities, etc., and now becoming 2. Well, that, you know what, I didn't read either the post or Adam Anderson's chat, but I would say that I would like to know that answer too, because that makes sense though, because I feel like Dolores Cannon and her work is outstanding. She actually figured out a way, her own way, to tap in to what she calls the source, and it was a vast, the source of all knowledge is what what she calls it. And anyway, it resonates with her, and within me too, that the earth is going to split into 2, a new and an old, and I don't know how that's going to happen, but anyway, that would go along with why it's converging down to 2 timelines. So anyway, because right now there's like a scary number of alternate, like, history happening right now. Like, if you think about it, you right now are a child living your life on an alternate timeline. So how are you also here yourself, not a child, I assume, unless there are any children in the chat? Anyway, it's mind blowing to think flat anything is illogical. I don't think flat earthers mean flat. Okay, it's like domed, first of all, and guys, I really don't want to start fighting about flat earth. I mean, I won't have it on my channel. Like, I'm sorry. I don't think that, I think both of them, both flat earth, you know, the domed, the new firmament, and old earth seem to be present right now. And I think that goes again with the moving into the new and the old earth. So I would appreciate it if you guys could respect my wish that, yeah, I just don't want to fight. I think it's foolish to fight about anything at this point. It's testimonial truth seems to have something to
Yeah.
say. I'm interested in what she
Oh,
has to say. Have her call me.
got
Hey, okay. Hey, you know what? Hey, that's okay. That's my friend Matthew. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to give away your identity. That Mathia by Bologna, I will put you in touch with him, testimonial, okay? And
Okay.
his name may or may not be Matthew. I told you about him. Anyways, hey, Uni, glad to see you here. I agree
Can
about
you
the
guys
feeling.
see my screen? Seriously, like I'm trying to find pictures.
No, I can't.
Check.
They can only see the chat window because that's all I have selected.
Oh, I was trying to screen share. I didn't know.
No, you can't. You get. But I have the control over that. You got to tell me. Like,
Oh, I am.
you're silly,
Clueless.
dude. I didn't know. I
Yeah,
didn't.
I know. I own it. I'm a goofball.
Oh, because you're used to working with the whatever the broadcaster system. We'll work that out. We'll be able to do that. But yeah, no, I'm just on Hangouts. We can't do that, dude.
Yeah, I thought we could.
Sorry,
Yeah, we
Matthew.
can. Yes, we can.
No, it's on Hangouts. It doesn't have the ability to do like a broadcaster. I promise. I looked into it.
You're the broadcaster. Oh.
No, it's not. It's a different thing. I promise. I looked into it. Trust me.
Oh.
Trust me, my dear.
You.
All right. So, the Illuminati card game. Okay, so I feel like the Illuminati card game is one of the possibilities, and it's a more obvious one. And this is just my speculation. It's where research took me. I feel like the Illuminati card game and its spookiness is basically one of the realities that people can go ahead and go into. I think it can be anything. I think it can be a board game. I think it can be a video game. I think people will choose and they will go into that somehow. It's an abstract concept. I haven't got it totally like ability to say it in words. So I will not elaborate further. Hey, Shay, remember how Pluto looks like Pluto the dog and Saturn's moon looks like the Death Star? Yep, exactly. It's like, why is our reality now mimicking what we always thought was fake and, pretend? And I think that has to do with consciousness and tapping into it. We tap into it. We don't even know how much of what we say is truth. We think we're saying the truth, and we could actually be misspeaking and accidentally say the truth. You never know. Let her share screen. I can't, Freeman's Cryptoverse, unless I would love to let her share the screen, but I can't. I don't think, unless I activate. Does anybody know? Can I activate her as having screen sharing capabilities? Is that doable in Google Hangouts? Because I think I need to be on the, what's it called? OBS.
I thought
the news is always like, here's some fear and anxiety, and now we go to a break to our sponsors, selling anti-anxiety meds and antidepressants so you can cope. Yep. Obey, consume, government guide. What's up, Cyber Shrapnel? Do you guys remember that Star Trek movie where everyone on the planet is going to be transported to a new planet secretly using that cloaked ship out in the lake with the holodeck in it? Was it?
Tell you what, I'll make a video and I'll put it on my channel. Okay. I'll do
That'd
that.
be awesome. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, really, I'm sorry that we're not very good technically with live chats yet, guys. We're gonna get better, I promise. But bear with us. Right now, we're just gonna focus on the chat. That's what we're doing. That's what we can do. So we really can't, like, let's see. If you're not familiar, look up the Fatima Portugal Visions. Yes, that is fascinating. The Miracle of the Sun in 1917. It's interesting and has a Russia element to it. I didn't know about the Russia element. What up, Omar? Sup, all. The fact is, there's never any straight line surface of our eyes where light enters is bent by the apertures. That's true. Just points of intersection, like the Cloud Gate sculpture in Chicago. I'm not familiar with that. I'm going to write that down. And about being in a simulation, if you've Matthew Babylonian Bartholomew Obadiah Aloysius Jenkins, Yablanovich the third. I cannot believe you would say such a thing. Don't forget to tip your waitress. Oh, ridiculous. Okay. It's hard keeping up with the chat, guys. Please bear with me. That's what you're talking about right now. No sim.
I just typed
Oh,
and didn't
I
go
think.
in.
Yes, I agree. The earth, the universe, reality can be both. What'd you say? Testimonial?
Oh, I just typed my channel name's right there in blue, guys. And just click on the thinker. I don't have a lot of videos up on that, but I'm working on it. I juggle a lot at home. I have teenagers, so they keep me busy.
Plus you're just like a researcher. I'm tired of putting
I
so
spend
much
so
fear
much time.
in. I'm tired of I'm tired of them putting so much fear in the news that even the frogs are self-medicating. Budweiser frogs like Xanax, Valium, Mandela Effect comedy. Clydesdale horses are even taking horse tranquilizers, and that's just to prevent their owners from stealing them. Whew, I don't know about that. TerryMansfield.com. Okay. Hey,
Did I lose?
hey,
like
not
catch?
please don't say shut up. That's not nice.
Well, I think.
Sorry, Mathia.
No, seriously, I think. I don't know what happened. Something stopped being able for me to catch up with you guys. So.
Or just go to the beginning, or where the live.
I am stuck on Jay Smith. What is the name? What is the channel name of your friend or whatnot? So.
Just keep typing stuff in. It's testimonial truth. And actually, before this happened, I actually was trying to connect your channel with mine, testimonial. So we'll do that after this live cast.
I'm typing.
I like how
and I don't see.
I like how Jenny. Yeah, well, it's on a delay, and the more people that join, the more people that join, the longer the delay is going to happen. Jenny Lunatic says there are no straight lines. I would agree. Oh, I want to try something real quick, you guys, because I have been looking into something, and I need to figure it out. So we are going to do this, and no wait. All right, yeah, we're going to do this, and then we're going to. All right, then, yeah, there we go. All right, so the mirror effect, it's infinity. All right, so I'm trying to get the chat window up now, and I think, oh, there it is. Bear with me just a second. All righty. Alrighty then. Okay, can everybody see that mirror effect? Check this out. So like, I've noticed that the million frames that seem to go into a tunnel are on a delay, and it is very inconsistent how they respond. They don't go in order, and they don't go at a fixed rate like one would expect. And I'm talking about this happens in a real two mirror situation as well. What I'm saying is I'd like to experiment with which ones move, because like mirror 3 will move before mirror 2, for instance, and it's inconsistent, and the intervals are inconsistent as well. So that's what I'm looking at. So no one be alarmed, but anyway, is it possible to link, or will it get wiped? You have to be creative with your links, Time Traveler 8, and I would love if you posted a link. I don't think you can actually post a link, though. Oh no, this is changing us all. Affected collective is affecting the collective. Well, we are the collective, my friend. It is because of threads. Cyber, you mean the mirror effect? What about when it's live mirrors, like actual mirrors, not computers, not cameras? What happened with Arctic in this reality? For real, though. Good question. I mean, like where I'm from, we had a North Pole and it had land on it and stuff. And like there was polar bears were from the North Pole because they're not from the South Pole. and they're called polar bears, and they're not from the water. So anyway, I don't know. That is crazy. Wow, love the feedback fractals. Yes, now what's super weird is I've just been doing little personal experiments with it, the mirror effect, because it honestly I've found strikingly bizarre results. And I'm not talking about with this. I'm talking about with the actual mirrors like in my house. I don't recommend people do it because I don't trust mirrors anymore. I mean, obviously they lie about, age and things. No, I'm just kidding. All right, I lost the chat window. I can't see what's happening. Testimonial, read the chat.
Alrighty. I am on Icy Lies. Hi, Rusty. Jenny. Crazy Me stands in front of a mirror and talks to all of me. Jenny Landon. Love it. Mandela Effect comedy interference patterns. All right, yeah. Omar Rona. Perceptions require your interaction to be perceived. Yes.
True. Is that about the mirrors?
Yeah. Well, I think, are you talking in general maybe about, and if I skipped one, I
Look
apologize.
how much of a delay it's on. Oh, that's crazy.
Really?
Whoa. Weird. Oh, weird. Oh my gosh.
Or anything?
Oh my gosh.
What's wrong?
I'm watching the time difference. And
I gotta get back on there, and
oh, that's
it booted me out. So if there's any weird interference noise, bear with, and I'll take care of it really quickly.
Alrighty, Rudy.
I gotta be two of me again.
It's okay. Two of me.
I got
two. Yeah, and we'll get it together, you guys. Bear with us, please.
Okay, is that good? Hey, I did it without having the screeching. Yeah. All right. Let me get back to where I was reading. I apologize.
Sounds like somebody needs to play in the mud with a stick and get away from electricity and black screens. Just saying, if you were always standing at the feet of the magician, don't be shocked by it. Can you be less cryptic, Mathia? Because I feel like you have good advice, but I don't understand exactly what you mean. Someone I knew, where did that just go? Someone I knew when she was little looked up at the mirror and her reflection was still looking down. Well, and I've found so many creepy pictures like that, that are reflections in, like, not even a mirror, but like a somebody standing in a kitchen and their reflection on the refrigerator or the oven. And it's so bizarre, in fact, that whoa, what just happened? Did you take control of my screen? No, you're not there.
No.
Okay.
No.
What just happened? Oh, this is trippy. This is a trip. Okay.
So it'll only let you screen share, right? Because you're hosting.
I feel like somebody's trying to use my mouse. Listen, if you're the government, you just get out of here. Not welcome.
Get home.
People have talked about quantum time jumping using a mirror. Well, I don't recommend that we start playing with mirrors. Let's see. But what you're talking, let's see, cyber shrapnel. But what you're talking about right now is the pure logic that I use. If you ever watched my McCavis idea, I show a scene with mirrors and say, yes, your scene with mirrors had total synchronicity. Thank you for reminding me of that. And say they change in the way distance. Right. I didn't know that you said that. I didn't understand it exactly. But at the time I was trying to get, I was trying to make a quick synopsis of what you're doing, because I think that your ideas are brilliant. Cyber shrapnel is the one, if people don't remember, that came up with the idea of making a virtual, a virtual AI training grounds that it would be wise for us to use so that AI didn't eventually take over our world. So we would create a fake world for them, and it would be infinitely. What are you asking, testimonial? Sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but somebody's saying with the mirror, I wanted to make sure I didn't skip over some of the thread.
But what do you?
on the computer, it could be due to threading or
Oh,
synchronizations,
it
but
definitely is. But
have a
like,
mirror.
but the thing is, like, it will be, it will.
It
So
shouldn't be.
that okay. So when we watch it, like watch the green icon. Okay, Peter. Hi, Peter. Peter, you're here. Peter. Oh my gosh, got a
Well,
lot
they
going
were
on.
just saying
Peter.
with the mirror, that's kind of they'd like to see it because then you have more proof we are in a
I
simulation.
have, yeah, I'm getting ready for that. I didn't
Okay,
really want to put things out that I'm not comfortable putting out. Like I
right.
want to get all the information, and I have reverence for what I don't know. So Peter Patnage, okay, has a lot going on today. If you want to have a chat, let's have a chat. But we're just kind of going in circles here. I would love to tell my time traveler story, but this is confusing. I agree, Peter. If you can give me your
Oh,
email,
hi.
or let's see, if you I don't know how to do this because, oh, I tell you what, you can email me. Yeah. I'm at affectedcollective@gmail.com, and I'm going to take it off screen share my whole screen so that I can check my email. And because I would like to get Peter on, and but I don't want to inconvenience you, Peter. We could do it another time if you have a lot going on today, and that's fine too. There we go.
I kind of went back up in the chat. So you were gonna make a point real quick about your screen, though. It was
Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. So, but
no.
I did want to say that Peter told the most amazing story I've ever heard. In fact, it was about an experience that he had in Guatemala quite some time ago, where he met a person who knew many languages and spoke incredibly good English, like, but looked the part, was wearing, let's see, they asked me to call in but never got back to me. Yeah. So Peter, I need your email to send you a link to invite you to join the call. It's not actually a call, but a Google Hangout, quote unquote. So and that's how, yeah, so that's how you would call in. Is I would need your email. If you can email me your email at I'm at affectedcollective@gmail.com. Pete time traveled back to see himself. He learned to repeat. Okay, it's funny you say that, Mandela Effect comedy, because I was going to ask Peter if he thought somehow that the time traveler was him visiting himself. I mean, I know it didn't look like him, but that was one of the questions I had. Long paste. Okay, he just from I Ching Book of Changes, I agree. Number precedes everything. Number informs the third dimension. The fourth dimension is pure mathematical. I love rolling the I Ching. It has helped me so much in my life. It's changed my life entirely. I mean, it's a way of tapping in. It's just an ancient oracle, and it's not sinister in any way. It's all you and your interaction, your consciousness interaction with the overall consciousness, the consciousness of the unity interacting with the consciousness of the self. Hello, Sharif. Sharif. Q needs a link. No, Q. I'm sorry. I can't do that today. TerryMansfield.com. Check it out quick. If you want answers, you should start in the right spot. I agree. Why would it be the right spot, Anonymous? Pete, repeat from across the street. Charlie, what's up, Charlie? You sound like the lady who does True Stream Media on YouTube. Sorry, off topic. Yeah, no, I agree. I sound like her, and except that she sounds a little more. Well, she sounds like she has more allergies than I do because I don't really get them, and she sounds like that she's a little more northern U.S. than I am. But I agree that we sound very similar. Peter, get in. Yes, for real, Peter. All right. Oh, I need to check my email. Hey, take it, testimonial. And now, testimonial truth.
All right. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay,
Sometimes I mute myself.
I'm gonna check my email. So
All right, guys. So let's see. Death Maskell. Can you explain more a little bit? Take me to your leader, Shay. All right. Nope. I see lies. That is a nope. I know where she's from, but I'm not gonna say. Stop trying to get out IPs. What's that? Oh. Wait. Okay. Seeking truth. Can you elab? No, not the same person. I can attest to that. DJ. She is not.
Yeah, I
Uh,
promise I'm not. I wouldn't lie. I mean, and I know we sound a lot alike. We do. Maybe maybe I'll do a little video on it
oh,
because
oh, I see, lies. I get you now. Okay, I get it. Thank you for explaining. I thought you meant affected. Uh, Nano cheese. Um,
yeah, nano
oh,
cheese is Cyber Shrapnel's site for his quantum firewall to protect us from AI corruption.
Mad Max says, "Is Trump a time traveler?"
Okay, so I think that Trump's son is a clone of him. I just get the feeling, and that's what it seems like, that the time traveling, the little boy in the weird, what's it called, Baron von Trump or whatever, in that weird book that's come out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's some good videos on it.
Uh,
But yeah, I'm going to be talking about that soon. It's just I think that it's silly for Trump to be time traveling unless he was somewhat, younger.
right. And DJ, yeah, as someone who talks to her a whole lot, I could spot the difference, but I could understand she might sound identical, but she's not. She's not
I'm
gonna
not.
lie.
Yeah, it's not identical. If you
She's
listen to her,
not gonna lie.
you know what? I'll learn to do an impression of her because I know the infliction that we have that's different, but it's subtle. I agree.
I can tell. I can tell because, well, I've been talking with you for a long while. You
Right.
were the first bud that took me in when I was all shook up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Well, and you know what? We just connected right
it
away.
does.
It's just
Yeah,
meant
we did.
meant to be.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Show
But I'm
me
not. Hey, hold on. I
reality.
want to say this. I want to say
Oh,
this. I'm not a liar. You know, I'm not a liar. You feel it
I
in
know.
your bones. And so I'm not talking to you, testimony. I'm
Oh,
talking to anybody who thinks I'm Melissa from Truth Stream. I'm not a liar. So why would I lie to you about that? There's no reason to. Okay. So I promise I'm not her.
and you
I
have
know.
your
I
hands
know we
full.
sound alike,
You
but
have
I'm
your
not.
hands full with what you're doing now. With your own channel,
Lord,
everything.
yes.
Gosh knows you have your hands full. I can tell you
Right.
that.
Maybe me and Melissa will have to do a collab someday. We'll have to write a song and stuff. All right. So if Peter
Cool.
has emailed me, I'm not getting the email. So let me check my spams folder. Keep going, testimony. You're doing great.
Man, I may be skipping over a few, so every time I try to go back up, I kind of lose my place. So give me a second. Obama's wife looks like a man. Omar comments, "What's up, Mandela people? Skywatch. Is Mandela effect tied into the Trump time traveler theory?" Hmm. I am not. Yeah, I mean it could be for some. Um, I need to research into that just a little more myself. Uh, Hi from Bronx, New York, Lewis. Lewis. I hope I'm saying that right. I
Oh,
love that.
awesome. Peter. Yes. Peter. Yes. Awesome.
Man,
Okay. I'm about to get Peter
uh,
in here. Y'all, just let you know.
back. All right, cool. All right, thanks for letting me know.
Give me a
What's
minute. I'm
up?
on.
Okay.
There's a. Okay. Thank you, Peter. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to read that out loud. Dang it.
So I don't know who Patricia Steer is. Omar says, so you're not this person? No. Um, Sing. They want you to sing. Jenny.
Sing what?
It just come out that way when I'm not making fun of her name. It just I think I had a Mandela Forrest Gump moment, Jenny. But she wants you to sing.
Who?
Ja ja ja.
Oh, Jenny does? Jenny, my only
Yeah.
Patreon supporter. I would love to.
Oh, thank you.
What would you like? What would you like to hear? Hey, and Jenny, I sent you a bunch of music today just because I felt like that my Patreon supporters, all of them, all one of them, deserved immediate hearing me sing, and so I sent a bunch of recordings.
Oh, I think few shots feels like it spills. Oh,
Okay, I'm
well,
trying to.
well.
All right,
I,
let's do that.
he says you give me a wrench, but no link. Oh, all right. Well, I think she's trying to just juggle a little bit right now,
All
trying to
right, yeah.
get
I was trying.
Peter to
I
share
invited
his.
Peter, and so
Yeah.
Peter should be joining us at some point soon. Yes, Thank you, God and Jesus and all on Judah and Jehovah. And
Well, it's because it's like a time travel story. I mean, and
it's
everybody's
an amazing
asking
story.
about
Yeah.
that, and it is. I've seen a little preview just because it's a little comment on YouTube, and anybody can kind of. But I think it's so awesome. I want to hear more. I wanted to. I was like, I want to hear more. So.
Okay, now guys, I'm gonna have to ask that we don't start talking about Pepe or Keck, because it's well, when I finally release all my video footage on that, wow, Jenny, your song counteracts the antimatter. I'm gonna cry. That's the most awesome thing anybody's ever said to me.
I think some of our like karaoke the other night, it was like it would kill the AI. It's like the tune we found. No, we had fun, and oh man, we were all joking. That's what another said. They were like, well, I think we just found the tune that would the frequency that would run the AI off, because it was so lagging when the words were coming up. We could not keep up. So I don't know. It just threw me. It threw me for a loop. Are you gonna sing just
hey,
a little?
Peter, so I don't call you. I sent you a link, and the way it works is that you just click the link and come. It should bring you right into the chat. And if you have a microphone and headphones, which I guess I assumed that. Sorry, Rose, we're trying to get it going. I don't. Yeah, if you have a microphone and headphones, that's ideal. Otherwise, we can mute and it'll probably still work. But basically, yeah, you just click on the link and it should take you into this hangout. But everybody will, your name will be visible, and the way it'll pop up is your camera will be active. So if you'd like to cover your camera with something, I personally like blue tape, but I guess I like blue in general. Peter, just go to share, then hangouts. That doesn't make any sense to me. Go to share. Share.
If World War Juju eyeballs, cool. Wow. What's up? If World War III does pop, just flee to Switzerland. You'll be safe.
Oh man, I don't think my passport.
Yeah, I thought
Hacks. What's the Pepe thing? There will be a video coming out about that. But Pepe the frog is the modern deification of the primordial god of darkness and the bringer in of light, Kek, who is a frog-headed god. And there's a whole lot more to that, but I'd rather not talk about it. Braveheart impression: you may take our lives, but you will never take our songs. I love that. I dabble in making songs. Just put one together last night about what's going on in the world. I don't know if you'd want to play it live, but definitely check it out. I don't have the ability to play it live, Dylan. If it appears that I'm technically with it, then it is an illusion. But
can I play it? It's your song.
What?
Like if I have another device and I can play it right here and there.
Like play it into the.
Yeah, but I mean, like open videos.
Pepe is associated with hate. I think about it is Pepe is associated with hate, but it's much deeper than that. There seems to be something coming to manifest through our hate, and it's big and it's powerful. And I think, in all honesty, it may just be the other face of God that needs to become the destroyer. But I cannot do more than speculate on all that. So
which one? It was on your They Live, right? Or the very last one.
What are you talking about?
I was watching both this morning. All right. I'm trying to something. But let's see, dude.
That's my song.
That is.
That song is called The Future That We Lived Through. I miss the old Pepe. So Pepe was a character created by Matt Fury that was originally called Pepe because all he did was pee-pee, and he was a frog. He pee-peed and he poo-pooed, and he would only say, "Feels good, man." Oh, and he would also vomit. So he would have bodily discharges of those kinds. And yes, hacks. That is, yes, kind of like that. But I can only speculate. I don't want to put labels. Anyway, yay, effective collective video music. Mandela Effect comedy. I just freaking love you, man. Pepe is so ugly.
I found you.
Pepe.
It's
You found
gonna come
who?
through. You. I found you.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What
Can
are you doing?
Not hear this?
Oh, mimic. Yeah. No. Yeah. I use my own music. I don't know if you guys noticed that I put two songs, two songs that I sing on my videos.
Okay, I won't keep it up very much. But I want a tape. I want a personal tape.
Oh, you want those? Okay, yeah, I can. Well, and actually, for anybody who's interested, I decided that all my Patreon supporters will have access to all of my music files, because and that includes, well, years and years worth of many songs, even some Tupac inspired, some metal inspired, and some just me singing. I've asked God many times.
Okay. Energy is a little weird and off here today. I mean, we need to maybe get a little more silly with it. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I kind of do.
No, I agree with him, actually.
Like
and I see lies. I think that there's more people, number one. There's but it is much different than the other. I expected as much. But yes, very good observation. I think that I'm feeling that too. But I mean, I like to
can't pinpoint it though.
Well, see, but no, it's not about that. It's like just project the same love, and really own it. Like, I really love, when I say much love, you guys, I really mean it. Like, much love to you guys. And I mean that to everyone. There are no enemies. There's just confusion and chaos.
I wonder if we're feeling the energy because people, you know what I mean? Like, about the coming eclipse to some degree. It's almost
well, that is definitely within all of everyone's, consciousness. And I mean, even if they have no idea that it's coming, and it
comes closer and closer.
I have electronic glitching around me. Well, Leonard, I would suggest that you possibly are what I call a kinetic, because I don't know. I've seen people walk by like a computer lab and just the computers just blink, beep, and just go crazy. Hi, Miss Lambykins. Oh my gosh, I love you. What's up, girl? I'm glad you're here. You built up hope, but failure is all you've known. Lord Pixel Studios, is that how you feel? Because I don't feel it that way.
What is that?
Leonard, elaborate. Love. Pepe was a shark from the movie Airborne. Oh, really? Huh. I'll write that down because I want to put that in the video. Was a shark from the movie Airborne.
Hey, girl, I was trying to. I hope that didn't spell lamey.
Lamey. We know you meant lamey.
I know, but FYI, when I type, I don't even fight the checker.
Eric M says enemies are called enemies. Oh, hey, is Peter on?
Yes.
Oh, shh. Everybody, shh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, Peter? Welcome.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thanks for coming on, man.
I think you can probably see me too. I guess I don't have my glasses on since I'm like 2 feet from the thing.
What's up? Thank you so much for coming.
Hold on.
So everybody, we're gonna listen to your
thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, your story was honestly like the most amazing thing I've ever heard, and it floored me. I'm still floored.
Yeah, so I know this is like the weirdest angle of my face ever. So
no, you look great.
The background for people that are just joining in real quick. It was literally right at 2000. I was a Mormon missionary, and I lived in Guatemala. And we lived in the northern section of Guatemala in Yucatan, right near the ruins of Tikal. And right off a lake, if anybody wants to look this up, if they're listening, Lago Peten Itza.
Lago
and Peten, P-E-T-E-N,
okay.
Almost like my last name, weird. Itza, I-T-Z-A.
Oh, that's not weird. That is telling. That is very telling.
Okay, so quick like 3-minute background.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't. I no longer go to any specific religion. I no longer believe in religion specifically. I think man kind of corrupted religion. So I'm not an active Mormon currently. But this story takes place as I was a Mormon missionary. Just to give a little context. And
Right.
no, yes, I did do stand-up comedy for people who want to search me out. Yes,
You
I am an
did?
artist, but this is
Awesome.
not an Andy Kaufman type of thing where I'm just like coming up with this crazy story just to get a little bit of pub.
No. No.
Although Andy Kaufman was brilliant in doing stuff like that, but just a little
True.
background on me that just real quick. So
That's a good
this happened
disclaimer.
when I was
That's a great disclaimer. Thank you for mentioning that. Just because that would go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no. I felt it was necessary because people, because they'll look at me and they'll get on my Facebook or whatever,
Absolutely.
and they'll
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, he's a stand-up comic." And yes, I also did a comedy radio show when I lived in Las Vegas. So no, this is not any of that. This is not connected to that. I've actually only told up until today or yesterday, like 4 people this story.
Wow. Really?
So
Wow.
yeah, and it's just weird because it just came back. Like I said in what I had commented yesterday, it kind of started all clicking back in my head when I started discovering this Mandela effect, which was the guy that introduced me to the Mandela effect. Let's just say he's a natural apothecary specialist.
What? What do you mean?
he, he sells natural herbs for the healing of the mind and the body. I'll
Gotcha.
just leave it there. Okay, so
You're so
So-
clever, Peter. I love it.
yeah, a little Pineapple Express,
Oh my gosh, this is where the rainbow turkeys grow. Okay, so I got to put this on screen. I'm looking up Lago Pitanita.
Pitanita. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I get sidetracked real easy. But so I started discovering the Mandela effect, and all this stuff seemed really relevant. So I told 2 friends the story, and they were both like, "What the hell?" Like, I can see. I don't have my glasses on, and I have really poor vision when I don't have them on, but I can still see what people are saying. Um,
Yes.
Anyway,
So yeah, the story.
so okay, year is 2000. Let me go back to the story. That's what's
Okay.
relevant. Mandela effect. I started researching it maybe 4 weeks ago. Okay, so that's where that came in. Why that's
Whoa.
relevant.
Okay.
So all within like the last month or so, my mind has been absolutely blown. And I can't see the chat, so that's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put it on the window of the logo thing, and you just tell your story.
Okay. So, wow, that's crazy.
Isn't that pretty?
I miss it, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
And if anybody
It's
wants me to
beautiful.
like double verify, I literally still have my missionary journal and all my pictures from all this, so I could send that to Effective Collective just as like a, hey, this was a legit story. I
Oh
didn't make
my
this crap up.
Gosh,
kind
I
of
would
thing.
love to do a video about that, man. Let's
So,
totally do that.
If you zoom in, actually,
Yeah,
I lived in
I'm trying.
Santa Elena.
It's not
It's
Santa
a little
Elena. Okay.
Santa Elena, yeah. So there's a bunch of cities that surround it, but look for Flores. Actually, I lived right off of Flores,
Flores.
and that is
Okay.
yeah. It's the island in the middle. There's a land bridge that connects it to the
Here, let me
rest
get
of
on
the
Google Maps,
land.
I guess.
So Flores and Santa Elena connect with a land bridge, and that's actually really relevant to the story.
Wait, so
and when
let me get there. So you said
Yeah, go ahead.
Flores,
Yeah.
Flores, and
Flores, Petén, Guatemala.
okay.
It'll pop up. It's a little island, tiny little island.
This is
It's
amazing.
in the middle of Lego Petén. It's
Okay. I can't type, so dang it all.
No, that's okay. I'll give a quick so for people that aren't familiar with how the Mormon missionaries operate, they travel in companionships or in twos. So I had another guy with me during this story. His name was what we called them elders, right? But his first name was Ronis Abarca, and he was from El Salvador. Okay, so he did not speak any English at all. Like he maybe knew like 4 or 5 words of English. I was fluent in Spanish at this time. I had been in Guatemala for about 4.5, 5 months as a missionary already. So I was pretty fluent in the language. 1 month prior to this incident, yeah, you zoom in right there.
Yeah.
1 month prior to this incident, we visited the ruins of Tikal. So it was kind of like our day off as Mormon missionaries, right? And so we got to go to the ruins in Tikal. And it's so funny to see this so much bigger than it was when I lived there. Holy smokes, that's tripping me out a little bit. But right there is where we lived.
Cities have blown up. It's crazy. I mean to do a video about that too.
So this story actually starts on that bridge that you can see.
This bridge?
Yeah, that bridge right there.
Okay.
All right. So one of the things about Lago Petén Itzá and it's the only lake in the Yucatan. It's the only natural lake in the Yucatan, which is weird in and of itself. It is also the last tourist stop, like where the buses go to Tikal. What it is that you're looking at was like this. It had a lot of touristy stuff in it. So occasionally we would see people that spoke English. So it wasn't the weirdest thing in the world. But so as the story goes, right, we go to Tikal 1 month prior to this event. The week prior, this is January 6th to year 2000 that this event happened. I think it's relevant. I didn't think it was relevant until I started studying Mandela Effect and more looking into simulation theory.
Yeah.
But Y2K, I think definitely something glitched now after having looked back at this story, because this happened 1 week after Y2K. Now, it was like 115 degrees outside because we're so close to the equator, and it's the rainforest, literally the rainforest.
And look at this water. Look how much the water is vibrating. Do you see what I'm saying? I've never seen.
So this lake is known to have like strange vortexes appear, like whirlpools. I call them vortexes, but like whirlpools.
Okay.
And it's just a creepy lake.
It's got so much activity. Like the water is unrested.
We were not allowed to go anywhere near the inside the water. Like we weren't allowed to travel in boats across, and we weren't supposed to swim. We were not allowed to swim at all. So we had very, very, very strict rules. Anybody that knows any Mormons, you know, that have very, very strict rules, especially for their missionaries. So you're basically with another dude all day, every day. You may not get along, as I did not with this particular companion who was with me at the time of this story on January 6, 2000. So his name was Ron Sabarca. He was from El Salvador. He didn't speak hardly any English at all. He was about 4'9" tall. So he was a little guy.
Yeah.
So we did these like little expos on the end of this bridge. When I lived there, the bridge was not paved yet.
Okay.
It was still dirt. So we would put up a table and we would hand out, Book of Mormon, pamphlets and religious stuff.
On this side, on the island side, or
no, on the
on the other side. Okay.
On the city side, yeah.
Okay.
We would travel into Flores all the time, but just as the traffic would go, because there's a big bus station right here on the land side that we would camp at. So when we would, every now and again, people would speak English to us because they were tourists headed up to Tikal. Okay. All of this is related to Tikal, I think. I don't know. It's weird. It's hard not to discount after like ancient alien technologies and mythologies. It's hard not to discount Tikal in time travel, in my opinion, especially after you guys hear this story.
Okay.
So there was a big bus terminal right there. There was also a bank and things like that where people exchanged their dollars for quetzales, which is the Guatemalan currency. Quetzalcoatl. Yes, same person. Yes.
Wow.
Okay. So, all right. So at the end of this bridge, we had a table, and we were panning out pamphlets and Book of Mormon and church stuff, right? And as we were finishing up, it was almost noon. We had like very strict rules that we had to eat lunch right at noon, and you had to be very obedient and things like that. So, oh my gosh, I just got the chills because literally it was like right there where you just zoomed in.
Oh my gosh.
But it was dirt, so there was no pavement there. So this dude rides up from Flores, all right, over to us.
Oh, okay.
On a bike. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Now, Flores has like maybe 1,200 people on it, if that. And Santa Elena had maybe 2,000. So there really wasn't a lot of people I didn't know at this point, because I had lived in that place for about 3 months almost. No. 2.5 months, excuse me.
And all you did was meet people because you were doing like
proselyting. We were proselyting, going door to door, preaching the Mormon gospel. So literally, when you're 5'11", white with blue eyes in a land of people that are typically 5'3" to 5'6", dark skin, dark eyes, yeah, you stand out a little anyway. And we wore white shirt and tie and dress pants all day. So, and our little name tags. Oh yeah.
What's it doing?
And I was about 55 pounds lighter too. So anyway, so we're standing on this bridge. This dude comes riding up on a bike, right? I'd never seen him before. He had sunglasses on, dark, dark, dark sunglasses on, which is relevant to the story because if you read the story, it was a little creepy. His eyes are creepy. So he rides up on his bike, and he starts talking to me in English. Now, the other missionaries that were with us had just left. I'm literally carrying a table over my head. The dude is walking his bike on my right, and my companion slash missionary partner is on my left, carrying a box of books. Okay, the roads are not paved, and we lived about a mile and a half inland from where you can see this bridge. Now, obviously, I didn't want this guy to follow us home because I'd never seen him before, and he starts speaking to me in perfect English. I'm talking flawless, zero accent English. Now, he looked just like every other Latino I could see right around me. He just looked like a guy that rode up on his bike and wanted to chat about Mormonism, right?
He blended in.
He blended in completely.
That's
completely blended in. Like he looked like everybody else. And I think that's also relevant to the question that I asked, which led to the story, which we can get into. But anyway, so dude comes up and he starts speaking in English, and it's just really weird vibe. Like if you've ever been around somebody that just gave you like that weird, like, holy cow, my hair just stood up on my arms when he just walked near me, kind of electricity, weird, creepy vibe. This dude had every of it, man. It was weird. But he didn't seem like malevolent. Like he didn't seem like he was going to hurt me. It just seemed like it was a weird vibe, like a weird freaking vibe. I'm trying to keep my language. I have a very potty mouth, which is funny because I'm telling a story about being a Mormon missionary. Yeah.
All right.
So dude starts speaking English, and I started asking him questions, right? And oh mother, that is so. You can tell I just looked in. So okay, so dude starts speaking to me English, and I started asking him questions. I'm like, hey man, where are you from? You know, I haven't seen you around. He's like, oh, I'm from everywhere. Okay, that's a weird answer. I'm like, well, what's your name? And then he stopped and he looks at me, and we were stopped. The traffic was going by, and he just stopped. He looks at me and goes, my name's Cain. And I laughed, but I'm like, Cain, right? He goes, no, my name is Cain. And so we walk across the street, and we're now a good like quarter mile inland and dirt road, and it's weird that people were riding bikes. Nobody rode their bikes on these roads. They were rough. We didn't have bikes. Like we were walking, and I'm carrying a table over my head. Remember that. While we're having this weird conversation about this guy's now telling him his name is Cain, and he's like, yeah, I speak every language, and I've been everywhere on this bike. And I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? And he starts naming specific roads that I knew in Salt Lake City, Utah. I mean, this is just weird, right? Roads. Dude. We're not talking like a building like the Mormon temple in Salt Lake. Come on, that's easy. Anybody could guess that. You're talking to a Mormon, right?
Right.
But he starts naming specific streets. Now, I'm not from Salt Lake City. I'm from Arizona, but I knew these streets because I had lived there. So
you had lived on these streets in particular?
No, but they were streets that you would know. It was like if I were to say like, I don't know, like University and Mill in Tempe, like everybody kind of knows where that is,
right?
Where we're from.
Exactly. I see what you're saying.
It's by ASU. You know, it's just something like a landmark street kind of thing. So it was weird, right? And then I'm like, okay, so what languages do you speak? And he, with perfect fluency, goes from Russian to German to Slavic to Japanese to. I mean, he was just rattling them off.
What was he saying in those languages? Like,
I have no clue. I don't speak those other languages. I spoke Spanish, you know.
But he sounded legit like Russian, and then.
I mean, he sounded freaking legit to me, and
never
just
heard
for the speed and ease.
Yeah.
The speed and ease which he was able to transition.
The ease is importantly. That's crazy.
Again, this just could have been some dude that memorized the same phrase in 5 languages to impress a girl. I don't know. But he spoke flawless, accent-free English to me.
Right. So,
but look Latino. And you got to understand, we're in the middle. If you look at where we were, we're in the middle of nowhere. Like, you're in the middle of freaking nowhere, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is the year 2000. And
a week after.
Anyway, I didn't want this guy to find out where we lived because he's kind of creeping me out a little bit just with this whole Cain and speaking languages and naming streets. And so I wanted to perform what we call a Mormon priesthood blessing. I think this resonates on the point that you made, Effective Collective, about the force and like that kind of like this. There is some power beyond our knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And so I believe lots of religions, not just Mormons, and shaman of all types and
there's many names for it, but we don't know if any of are correct. I think that it's all just pieces, but the force, the concept of the Star Wars franchise's force is the closest, generic term, I guess, umbrella term to put on what it is. Some kind of, it can be used good and evil. It's strong though. It's the
Yin
force.
yang, good and evil.
Yeah. I mean, it's light and dark.
Karma wheel.
Yeah. It's a dichotomy. It's
yeah.
both. Yeah.
So in the Mormon faith, we, not to get super about like the ritualistic parts of it. So what we do for a blessing, a priesthood blessing, is we use oil that has been blessed specifically for the purpose of blessing a person and to healing whatever affliction they might have, right? And is based on their person's faith in God that they will be healed, right? So
okay.
We go to a member of our church, the local church area's house, who I knew he lived close to the church.
Okay.
I actually wanted to take the guy to the church to do this, but
right.
It was just, we didn't have the keys, and I had to stop by this guy's house to get the keys. He kept asking me why, and I was like, well, I thought he was like possessed by the devil. This is my thought.
That was your feeling
at the time. Yeah. Hindsight, now thinking back to the rest of the conversation, and from this point on, it gets really weird.
Yeah.
Like, if
I
you
want
to
hear
this before, this part gets really, this is where it gets really weird.
This is about the oil.
This is what it's about. So we're in this guy's house, and we're talking like it's like a 10 by 10 shack with like aluminum siding for walls and a ceiling. Like we called it a house. Like, it's not a house to what we would know in America, really, to be honest.
Right.
So we're at this house, and we sit this guy down on the stool. So now I'm trying to fill in the other two gentlemen on the last 45 minutes long walk and weird conversation that I've had with this gentleman, right? Really quick in Spanish, because I know he speaks Spanish too. So I'm like, yeah, we're gonna just give him. He asked me for a blessing in English, and that's what we're gonna give him, a blessing. And they're like, okay. So they're acting weird to me. So my missionary companion and the church member,
they were acting weird.
They were acting weird to me because I couldn't explain to them what was really going on and what I really thought, because this guy knows Spanish, and the only way I could communicate to those two was to speak Spanish. So I couldn't covertly like whisper in their ears.
Couldn't say, like, "Hey guys, wink, wink, nudge, nudge."
Yeah, I had no way of explaining it. I just had to try and get it done. This was my thought process, right? So I'm thinking, let's just give this guy this blessing, and then, God will take over from there. That was my thought.
Right.
So we perform the blessing, and the second I take out the oil and put it on the top of his head, again, the guy's still wearing his sunglasses. Did not take them off. Still wearing his sunglasses, put the oil on top of his head, and he starts screaming. His head was kind of like really short hair, so it's kind of like a shaved head. His head starts screaming. He's like, it burns, it burns, it burns. Not in Spanish, but in English, he's saying this, it burns, it burns, it burns. So he's talking to me specifically still. Because these other two cats don't know any English.
Right. He's not telling them to stop. He's telling you.
No, he's not saying me quema, which would be like, it burns me.
And he knew how to say that. Well,
he would. Yeah, he absolutely knew how to say that because he spoke fluent Spanish as well. Yeah. He's saying it burns in English,
and he's saying it to you.
He's saying it to me because my hands were on the top of his head. So I put the oil on, and then I put my hands on the top of his head.
Okay, so when you apply the oil, you put it on your hands, and then you.
No, you put it on their head first. So like you put a drop. Like if you can see my head, I have I have morning hair right here. So his head was like kind of shaved, so he had really short hair.
Okay.
So we put on the top of his head, like right here. And as soon as I just put a little drop on my finger and just rubbed it like that on the top of his head. And as soon as I did that, and I put my hands on his head, I can't do it with my other hand because I'm holding my phone.
I'm showing everybody else. So now they can see.
So they can see me. Okay. So we would put the oil on my finger.
Okay.
And we would put the oil on the top of his head right about here. And then I put my hands on the top of his head, and then they put their hands on top of my hands. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you have to imagine I'm him, and there's like three dudes with their hands on the top of my head, and now this oil is on my head, and I'm screaming, it burns in English.
And your hands were the ones touching his head, right?
Yeah. My hands were the bottom hands. Their hands were on top of my hands. Yes. Yeah. And he's screaming, it burns, it burns, it burns. I mean, he's not saying me quema, which is what he would say in Spanish. He's saying it burns.
That's interesting. I mean, that's scary. Anyway,
I I finished this quote, blessing, and I feel weird because I can see myself and
Oh,
myself and
sorry.
myself.
Here, I'll go out. I'll get you up.
Totally distracted myself.
Totally
Okay, there we
yourself
go.
distracting yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's bad enough I have to see myself in the little thumbnail screen. Anyway, so I finished the blessing, and I bless him with, I just say in the blessing generically, bless any evil intentions you may have, maybe gone from you, just kind of very generic stuff like that. Maybe you have more faith, in your journeys, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Right. Okay.
So,
So you finished the blessing. Now I have a question. So you finished the blessing even though he was screaming?
yeah,
Did you
I did.
did you like
It was quick.
did you
It
wonder
was
if you
quick.
should stop? Okay. Okay.
I made it like super, super quick. I mean, we're talking like less than a minute.
You like wrapped it up.
Yeah. Like, cause he was like super uncomfortable. He kind of calmed down for like a second, and then I got it. I just rambled on like the couple of phrases. We're talking 35, 40 seconds at most. This whole thing went down. So we all stop, and like I'm talking like, like I don't believe in ghosts per se, but like it was like the weirdest electromagnetic energy from this dude. It was weird.
Yeah.
And he seemed to be a little more calm, and
Okay.
and so again, still has not taken off his glasses, and so we leave the hut. Now I'm kind of out of options because I'm like, well, crap, now he's still following us, and we got to go home. And so
Oh,
the long
yeah.
walk, it's about a 25-minute walk from where we were in one straight direction that ended at a T. And again, the roads are dirt. He's walking his bike. I'm carrying a table over my head. My companion is carrying a box full of books. So we head up this long 20-minute walk.
You're carrying a table. That really puts it in perspective. Like,
yeah,
bike, a table, and a box of books.
And a box of books. And so we're walking up. It's about a 20-minute walk, and he's still following us. And I'm just thinking this whole time, and none of us spoke. We were just walking. The guy's just
weird.
walking next to me. None of us are talking. I'm just here thinking, how do I get this guy not to follow us to our house? Because
how is it going to end?
I don't know. Yeah. So, because I know that I can see the T where either you go left and back to the main road, or you go right where our little shack lived, and it was literally a shack.
Right.
We used a bucket to shower, and there was a giant spider in our shower that I named Louis. And I just figured, I can see the giant spider, and I can't see the little bugs that I don't like, so I figured make friends with the giant spider. Louis ended up dying one day. He fell in the bucket. Apparently, spiders can't swim.
Oh my God!
I kid you not. Louis was bigger than my hand. Like he was a giant spider.
Oh, I don't have arachnophobia myself, but now I can't show this to like 3 friends. So
anyway, so we live in this little shack, and it's like 300 yards to the right as we get to this T, and then if you go to the left at the T, you can go out to the main road, which would take you to the only paved road, which is where somebody with a bike would go.
You're right. Okay.
So about 20 yards or so before we get to this T, he starts talking to me again, and he's like, "Hey, I want to tell you something." And then again in English, and he goes, "I got to be honest, my name is Cain. That's what I go by anyway." Like he's like kind of saying like it's the name he goes by because people recognize that name. And he's like, "I'm a time traveler." And I'm like, so like I'm like stopped because we're basically come to this T, and I'm like stopped, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, again, I put the table down now because I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Right? Like
say what, buddy?
Time, yeah. I was a 19-year-old Mormon missionary, and this guy's like telling me he's a time traveler, and his name is Cain, and he'd already spoken all these languages. He'd already named specific streets in Salt Lake City. He told me he's ridden his bike all over the world. Not the country, but the world.
Him showing up from the island with a bike, and you've never seen him, and he's
never seen him,
and he still has his sunglasses on.
And he still has his sunglasses on, right? And so he's got his bike and he sets down his bike, and he looks at me and he goes, "I'm telling you the truth. I came to find you, and I just want to tell you." And he reaches out his hand, and I kind of instinctively shake his hand. He goes, "I just want to tell you thank you." And at this point, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing.
Oh wait, no. Here, let me get you on the screen because let's do this. Okay, hold on. All right. Okay, here you're all right.
So actually, so he takes his sunglasses, right? Dark sunglasses. I have yet to see this dude's eyes. We've talked for over an hour now. He's told me all this kind of weird stuff. And then in
And
the
it burns,
last
it
5
burns.
minutes,
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
and in the last 5 minutes, he now tells me he's a time traveler and that he was looking for me. And I'm sitting there thinking, like,
And
what
he
are you
thanked
talking
you?
about?
He thanked you.
And he thanked me. And we shook hands, and he takes his glasses and he lifts them up like that on the top of his head. And his eyes had absolutely zero pigment. Zero. They were completely black.
They were
There was
black.
no white. There was no, it had an iris, but it was black.
Oh.
So you could
Oh.
see an iris, but everything was black. His entire eye was black, both eyes. And he
Oh.
I mean, he looked me dead in the eyes, and like I can just see this dude's face still to this day. He was about 5'7". He looked Latino, and his eyes were completely black. He just told me he's a time traveler. All this weird stuff's happening. He said the oil burns, and he tells me he was looking for me, and then he thanks me, shakes my hand, puts his sunglasses back on, gets on his bike, rides off to the left. Never saw him again. Never saw him before that. One of the weirdest freaking things I've ever had experience. And then until I started researching the Mandela Effect and about alternate timelines. And then I'm sitting here thinking, like, I have a pretty decent understanding of scientific principles.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like alternate timelines and infinite timelines, and you take away the grandfather paradoxes and things like that, you could, any number of possibilities could come. Why the hell, excuse my language,
Why the haystacks?
what was my significance in this dude's timeline? He specifically said, I'm a time traveler. I'm looking for you. Thank you. Didn't tell me what he was thanking me for, by the way. Just said, thank you. Got back on his bike and left. Now, I don't know about you, but people with completely black eyes, not really
I've never,
everyday occurrence.
Okay, and Peter, I want to tell you this. Last night, at random, by coincidence, what have you, I came upon 3 videos separate times with people with black eyes. I've never come upon a video with people with black eyes. And I was like, the first time it happened, I was like, haha. Second time it happened, I was like, whoa. So the third time it happened, I was like, okay, I can't wait to tell Peter. I hope he shows up tomorrow. But when you say black eyes, now you say he had, like, you could see the iris, you could see the separation, like, but they were black, like shiny with normal, like liquid,
Man.
They
looked like physically it would be the same physical size as our eyeballs would be. Everything on him was proportionately okay. There was no elongated skull, no elongated ears, nothing, no fangs, nothing that you could physically see that would separate him from any other Latino that I would have seen on the streets that day. Okay, so his physical features, again, probably why he kept the sunglasses on, I'm guessing, because the one physical feature he maybe was unable to hide were the eyes. Now, I like, it's just what I'm just trying to picture in my head. So just imagine somebody who's about 5'7", looks Latino, but has no pigment in the eye. So where we have a white, his is black, but the iris is also black. So like I have blue iris, right? And then white, for the actual eyeball.
Right.
Well, his eyeball was black and his iris was black. But you could see that there was an iris like you and I would have, but it was just black on black.
My friend Mathia says the Nephilim spirits have black eyes. The oil burnt him because it has been consecrated, but that. He actually was raised Mormon too, I believe. Now,
oh, okay.
And now I'm okay. Now I'm just going to ask you this, Peter, because like in your heart of hearts, in your speculations on this, has it ever crossed your mind? I'm sure you've wondered of the identity and what you possibly could have to do with him. Have you ever thought it was you that came and inhabited the body of somebody and came and thanked yourself?
Okay, so kind of like adding to the story, like I'm not religious anymore due to a lot of specific circumstances, but really finding transcendental meditations and things like that, neurolinguistic programming, seeing how people's minds are brainwashed, stuff like that really kind of helped me open my eyes to a lot of stuff. And so during a deep meditation, about 6 years, I want to say 5 years ago, a deep, deep meditation, I met myself on another planet, it seemed.
Whoa,
Like,
brother.
but it was like me, but like in like perfect shape. Like my hair was combed perfectly. Like it was like the perfected form of myself, right? Like,
what do you mean by a different planet? How'd you know it was different?
well, so uh, anybody who's ever experienced astral projecting and or out of body but experiences, you get that like where you feel like you're floating out of your body and then you start to float, right? Like lucid
Yeah.
dreaming, that kind of thing. So that had happened to me my entire life, right? As far back as I can remember. But as I started studying meditations and lucid dreaming and that kind of stuff, I started to understand like, oh wait, like that's actually what's going on. There's a name for this weird sensation that I have, right? Some people get the sleep paralysis, but like when you go overcome that, you float outside your body and stuff. So then I learned about binaural beats. So when I would meditate, I would use binaural beats and get into like an out of body experience. And so like
That's
you feel like you're
interesting. Okay.
floating
Yeah,
outside
that's
of your
actually
body.
it's part of Indian music is your basically it's a spiritual thing. Your soul is coaxed into a state of meditation, and you're
Mhm.
closer to your spirituality, to God, what have you, because of the binaural beats and also
Yep.
overtones. And yeah, so I mean, that's a real
It's a
thing.
beautiful experience once you
we
get over
are
the
all
fear of it.
yeah, it's you have to
It
let
is
go
quite,
of being human and being in
yeah.
control of your body, and like you got to let go of the body entirely.
It's super, 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 super. Like I'm not even going to pretend to say that I've mastered in any way, such or form. But it's a super uplifting experience when you let complete go of your body, right? So then
Right.
you get so then so like I floated out of my body, right? And I floated to this planet, and it looked like it was like I want to use the word mithril from like Lord of the Rings. It looked like that, like the mountains, the buildings, the roads. It was like white, silvery, shiny. Like the only thing I can think of like Frodo Baggins is mithril, like his mithril chainmail that he was given. That's the
Oh,
only thing I
okay,
could think
that.
of.
Oh, I
That's what
see.
everything looked like. And there
Okay.
was like this one main road, and it had two moons, and there was like a giant mountain. It looked like it would be like a more steep peaked Mount Fujiyama, if you could think of it like that, right? And then I'm walking down this like cobbled, shiny street, and I come up to like there's like this cafe. It looked like you would see on like a New York street or whatever, but everything was silvery. And there's this guy, and he flags me over, and I'm like, wait, that's me, but like in better shape and like better perfected form. And I sit down. I had a conversation with myself.
Whoa.
So I've had experiences where it was myself. So to answer your question, do I think in hindsight was that myself meeting myself in a different form? I've
Yeah,
definitely
that's
looked at that possibility.
I
It didn't
feel
feel
like
like me
yeah.
compared to that experience. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
So
Well, and okay, so I mean, just speculating here, like to to have black eyes, because it sounds like he possibly inhabited somehow the body of someone who was there. I mean, I think it would be more complicated to, have the clothes of, and how old did he look? Do you about?
I would say 25 to 27 at most. I
Okay.
mean, uh, I was 20 at the time, so he
Yeah.
didn't look
Okay.
any,
He looked
not a
about your
speck much older than me. Yeah.
okay.
He definitely did not look like he was in his 40s, 50s, or anything like that. No gray hair, nothing like that. No wrinkles in his skin, which comes back to my question for you, Affected Collective, about the their quote unquote
Right.
skin being a
Right.
biological cloaking device, because
Well, I think that see that
that will
and
allow shape shifting in a more
right.
technical
Well,
mastery.
so
So anybody from the future that has this technical mastery, say 50 years in the future, 5 years in the future, hell, we don't know. We know there's Chinese scientists that have already been able to inverse the Doppler effect and change the way time wave and light waves are seen and things like that. Cloaking devices are probably already, if we're really smart, probably been used since Tesla's days, but whatever,
right. Well, and Tesla,
just in a
man,
biological sense.
Tesla, if there's ever an example of, and I got upcoming videos about this, if there's ever an example of one person who would have changed the world so much, in fact, I believe on the original timeline that we don't know, we will never know it. On the original timeline of our human history, there was, I think Tesla changed the world in so many ways that they just basically took him out and they ruined him. They compromised him. They just, it's amazing that we've heard of him. But anyway, I wanted to mention Testimonial Truth brought up a good point. The fact that he named himself, he said Cain.
Yeah.
And did he specify yes the Cain in the Bible? Like he said that, right?
Yes.
He said yes the Cain in the Bible, like before you even said anything, or did you say Cain's in the Bible and he?
Well, I laughed. I mean, because you got to imagine this dude's speaking flawless accent-free English to me on the side of a road. I'm carrying a table over my head, and he's riding a bike wearing sunglasses, and he tells me his name is Cain. So I literally just went, what? Like I was like,
Wait a minute. Wait. According to God, though, and what our Bible tells us is that nobody was supposed to go after Cain or mess with him.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, Testimonial? You kind of broke up a little bit.
Sorry. Nobody was supposed to go after Cain or try to mess with him. God said, don't even go there. Like, I've got this. So I kind of get this visual that he sent Cain on his merry little way, and he's been traveling to some degree ever since.
Oh my gosh.
I think
that is like boom, drop the mic.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, okay, I agree with Testimonial. Like I 100% thought exactly that at the time.
Okay.
Because it's in hindsight that I learned more about time travel and multiple realities and things like that.
Okay. Well, that's
at the
my
time,
first thought. Yeah.
Well, I think that's.
I was strictly going by the Bible, which is exactly what you said.
Right.
He was set free to roam the earth, which then you get in the conundrum. Okay, where was he during the flood?
Right.
If the whole earth was flooded, where was Cain during the flood? Then you have conundrums like that. But then you say, well, if he can't die, then he would have just been half drowning for like 40 straight days. That would
think
suck.
the significance of using the name Cain is so that you would realize who he was later. He said Cain so that you would think, so that it would make sense to you. Oh, time traveler, like that. I think that was said for you to later realize who he was, because I think this is, I don't know why he would have thanked you, and it may not have happened yet.
I definitely think that is, my mind has definitely gone there more recently for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's some future event.
Or, I mean, it could even be something that the timeline will have changed entirely and never happens, but it happened for him. Now,
so here's my question for you. Not to cut you off.
No.
With the whole, now at the time, living in the Guatemala jungle with barely enough electricity to run for like 3 hours on a generator at night,
right?
We didn't really care about Y2K. All right. So from the time I go to Tikal, December 6th, 1999, to January 6th, 2000, is when I go to Tikal, Y2K, I meet this dude. Right. And in that succession, what was Y2K's big fears? Because again, we didn't have access to the news. We didn't watch the news. We didn't have any plug into like what was going on in the world, right?
Right.
We really didn't have any clue. And so what was their big worry with the computers in Y2K? Because I never really studied it until just recently, because as these memories like became relevant because of the Mandela Effect, weird dreams I had, like now I'm like, okay, what was that all about?
Right.
You would seem more versed than I.
Well, so wait, so I'm sorry, and I was typing. You're asking me, like what the Y2K?
What was the scare? Yeah, what was the scare about it?
I've always speculated on that I thought it was stupid, but now that the Mandela Effect has happened, I've completely gotten new eyes, and I re-examine things that I never. I don't know, everything needs a new look. Everything's on the table. And I feel like that's a good point. It could have been that something was averted But basically, the original scare was because foolishly, when we made computers, man had put just the last 2 digits as if we would always be in the 20th century and it would never turn to 00 again. So the time keepers of the computers, of the databases, of everything was about to reset for a lot of big government, or not, I don't know how much of the government, but I assume a lot of corporations were being threatened because that meant records would be lost. They didn't really know what to expect when it turned to 2000. They thought it would be like, it would go back to 0 and that the computers would just, like, the databases would shut down. They didn't really know. They had speculations, but so they hired a whole lot of people to do a whole lot of busy work and try to just kind of, undo that somehow. It was supposed to be, what I thought at the time was, it was supposed to be a sort of reset for, like, I don't know, financial institutions. I thought it might be kind of a revolutionary time, but we can only speculate on what actually, might have happened. I think it's also interesting that in 2001, that was the year that September 11th happened. I think that I don't know. I always felt like that the year 2000 would have been a much more, I don't know, appropriate, prolific. I felt like that was off somehow. I don't know why. I can't really explain that, but I always thought that, September 11th, 2001 was, it was 1 year off. I don't know. And that event, okay, now since that event was just, I mean, it's marked in everyone's consciousness. I mean, it's really legitimately, you could argue that it's a portal of sorts, because everyone in the world's consciousness was devoted to that day. It was unified in that tragedy. And I mean, I don't know if anyone drove on the streets that day, but it was creepy. I mean, it would have been
I actually had
appropriate.
school that day.
Yeah, I did too. And
I had to drive to school. I was in college. That just gave away my age, obviously.
Well, yeah. Well,
But
I was in college when I was 4. No.
Yeah, so I remember driving to school, and I'm like, and this was after I quote unquote watched the plane hit the second tower, because I don't believe that anymore, but I quote unquote watched it, and then I had to get ready and I had to drive to school, and I got to English, and I'm like, this is dumb. Like, why am I here? And then we all just left. And
wait, so you guys were in school? Like, they didn't cancel class?
No, I showed up. This is Arizona time, so this is at like 7:30 a.m.
Okay, I see. So see, because
I'm in English at like 8 o'clock. It's like 8 o'clock Arizona time, and I'm in English class in college, and I'm just like, why are we here? And we're all just like looking around, and we're looking at the professor, and he made like a weird, awkward joke, and he goes, "You know what? Just go home." It was like, everybody just leave, and we all just like weirdly got up and left. It was like
weird, yeah.
Because not everybody showed up, but like the 16 people that did, it was just the weirdest. We're like looking at each other, like, what's happening?
It's bewilderment. Well, okay, so I slept. I had kind of a traumatic experience happen with my roommate, and we had quite an eventful night, and so I slept clean until like the early evening of September 11th, and I woke my roommate up, and we're like, oh man, gosh, gotta get to work. So I got ready real fast, and I was like, all right, hey, I'll see you later, man. And he said, hey, I think something happened. And I said, what? What do you mean? I got to go. And he was like, no, but I think something happened, like, in the world. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? I got to go. And he was like, no, well, I called my work, and they said, don't bother coming in, buddy. And he was like, okay, is everything okay? And he said, it's because of what happened in New York. I mean, he didn't have to say much. Pretty much it was assumed everyone knew by 4 p.m., but we had been sleeping. We didn't really want to advertise that information. But so I was like, in New York, okay, well, I got to go. So I got onto the first, getting in my car, I felt the silence of everything. But driving through the streets, of a city of over 1 million people populace, and there was no one. I mean, it would have been appropriate to see a tumbleweed blow by. I mean, for real, I mean, it was so eerie that very quickly I knew something had happened. So I got up to work, and this one man was there who had, I guess, been there to unlock the building and tell everyone no class today. And because I was a teacher at the time, and so I walked in and I said, "Hey," and he was like, "Hey, I'm surprised you showed up. Nobody else has." And I was like, "Oh, because what happened in New York?" Like I knew. And he said, yeah, it was awful. And I was like, "What did happen?" And he was like, he took off his glasses and he looked at me and he goes, have you not seen? And I was like, "Well, people were talking, no, I mean, not really." And he said, "This morning, 2 planes crashed into the World Trade Center towers in New York and they were destroyed." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And it was really awkward, and I left, and then it was even weirder driving home. But yeah, I mean, it was like I was probably the last person in the world to know. I felt like, just by happenstance. Anyway, now, okay, I don't know if everyone's privy to this information because it's kind of hard to find. Some days more than others, this information is easier to find, and some days it's harder. But now, what has happened on that day is all of the World Trade Center buildings are destroyed. All of them were reduced to a pile of rubble. All 7 World Trade Center buildings, and even a couple of the surrounding buildings, like they are dust. The parts that are left over are like perfectly preserved pieces of paper in a book, and like, I mean, they were untouched, tiny. It was definitely technology we're not familiar with that we have, and I don't know that we even have it, but there was some kind of portal that was open that day, be it through consciousness, but it's accessible. And I feel like there are access points all along our history that, I don't know, are accessible. And that's why when my research leads me deep into the crevices of stuff, I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And I find all the time when I get to those places that there's evidence of the infiltration. And I don't know what they are, but I know that they use other beings to try to interbreed with us. And they've been very unsuccessful so far. I mean, I think that we humans could possibly be, I don't know how much they had to do with our lineage. I don't think they had anything to do with it. I think I think that their point of entry was September 23rd, 2015. And I think that it doesn't matter anymore because they've moved across time and space quantumly, and they've created other timelines that are going on right now. Is alternate history being created in many different areas. And so anyway, I mean, I can only speculate. Now, I will say this about shapeshifting. In about 2008, I stumbled upon, some YouTube videos that I clicked, and I was like, okay, let's see somebody shapeshift. And I was deeply disturbed. There was nothing I could rule out that there was nothing that told me, oh, that's just this, don't worry about it, because it deeply disturbed me. It looked like to me what it would probably look like if somebody's electromagnetic field or vibrational frequency was being disturbed, and that like it was over their clothes and things, like it moved with them. It was a haze, a sort of. And so to say reptilian shapeshifter, I think would be a possible mislabeling. I think that it's misleading to peg them as reptilians. And I don't think that we should rule out the possibility that it's more than one sort of force or entity. Now, I will say that there's the draconians, the history of the dragon people, the reptilian people, but there's also the fish people, the mer. Those, like the hats that the Pope wears, the Vatican, all it mimics a giant fish being worn on your head. Basically, it's in allegiance to what they looked at as gods, who were basically big fishmen. And I think that there being big fishmen and draconians in almost every culture's deep ancient history is very telling of the fact that, well, there were other sort of beings, races that weren't human, not even really humanoid. But I don't think we can rule out the possibility that there are many different influences on our society. I think, though, that if I had to speculate, I would say the draconians are winning. Sort of, they're the ones leader. I think they're the ones that created the 13 families. That's why we have so much diversity in our DNA. There's only 3 main types of DNA now. It's basically Asian, African, and Caucasian descent. But I think that is because it just sort of swallowed up all the others. Anyway, I'm probably way off topic, but I will say that in looking up shapeshifter technology, there is a combination of technologies being used in addition to what I think is a natural frequency, like beings that move in a quantum plane or something. They can inhabit a body or kind of control. I think that those things mimic a natural phenomenon which is seen in cuttlefish and some octopi. That
you think it's more like an avatar state, like a temporary avatar state, like literally puppets on a string?
Have you seen the video here? You know what? I'm going to pull up a video. I don't think it's on a string, but I do think there is a connector like at the brainstem, and I find it interesting that our pineal glands have been changed, and I find it interesting that our brainstem has been changed by the Mandela Effect. I feel like those are significant clues that we could be using to, I don't know, uncover something. But here, let me real quick. I want to look up, or actually, I have it on a playlist, but it's easier to look up. There's a man that, let me type it.
I just look at it.
It looks like he has an attachment. You go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. You look at it and say what?
I look at it and think, okay, could this be some sort of higher technology from somebody in the future? Wouldn't that be the most clever way to hide the paradox? You know what I mean? So if at some quote unquote future time, like the John Titors or the Albilecs, you know what I mean? You put on a biological suit and you wear it like a wetsuit kind of thing.
Right. And you know what? And that's interesting that you say that. Also, before I forget, okay, I wanted to mention the bicycle. You know that video of the time traveler where it's like a guy just appears on a bike out of nowhere?
And the Russian one. It's the Russian one. It's like a Russian guy's in a Russian TV station's interviewing some guy on the street. Yeah, there's this guy appears from nowhere with a bike,
and he immediately turns the other direction and acts like, "Oh shoot!" Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. That's a crazy scene. There's another one where a lady just disappears in an airport. But anyway, I don't know how to find this, but I'll do a video about it really, really soon. I promise. But basically, I've been studying how it's possible to shapeshift the way that there's been lots of evidence shown that people seem to be doing it. And I feel like the technology is there if you took the DNA from basically cuttlefish. It's their skin pigments that react to various surroundings, and they're able to cloak. And they cloak in texture and in color immediately. And even if you put them on a checkerboard floor, they will turn black and white and it's an automatic reaction, and it's tied in with their emotions. Now, what I find incredibly intriguing is what seems to be the trigger for shape-shifting, like reporters and such, is when they mess up, when they get embarrassed, they seem to lose control over it. And I noticed also when one is shape-shifting, the others kind of have to look away. It's like they can't help it. They start shape-shifting. And so like it's intense to watch, like how the interaction happens. Once one starts shape-shifting, the other ones are like, oh, and they like look away and they drink sugar water reportedly. And I don't know. I'm that video is up and coming because I have a lot of research I've been doing, like I said, since about 2008, where I feel like that deeply inside me, I know it's real. And so I have to figure out how they do it and what's going on. And I think it's a combination of tech. Now, there also is holographic technology that tries to correct the shape shifting, and it sort of just blurs it and makes it look. I think what it does is it takes like the past few seconds of their skin and it overwrites. You know what I mean? Like, I think.
Well, it's definitely, it could just be sending a specific RF signal right to the brain directly. I mean,
yeah, and that's they live. Man.
I have a shape-shifting story.
Whoa, dude!
I had so I was using I'm gonna use another code. Using a lysergic technology. I'll just leave it at that for the super intelligent out there, and with a buddy of mine. And
yeah, you don't do that alone. Lysergic tech is meant to be shared.
So as we were on a walkabout, right, and I'm looking at it, and it started to rain, right? And I kid you not, it was right as it started to rain. It doesn't rain a whole lot in Arizona. So it started to rain. It was dark as lightning, and we're walking by these railroad tracks. Now, don't get me started as to how we got to the railroad tracks, because that's not relevant. But there was toads everywhere, right? There's toads everywhere, and it could have been a technology. I don't know.
Oh, that just creeps me out because of the keck.
Toads everywhere, and there's rain. And we're walking up the street, and we come up to where the main street goes. We're walking to like the convenience store, and I look to my left, my buddy. He's not my friend anymore, but he was my buddy.
Yeah.
And he looked straight up like reptilian, like amphibian walking reptilian man without a tail. Like, and his gait changed, his whole entire spine curvature changed. I looked right at him, and I remember saying this because of the technology makes your mind very free and very, very focused. And
the technology.
So I looked at him. And I said, "Dude, you look like a reptile man, like a frog man." And he was, "What?" And he looks right at me, and his face completely changed structure. Just the weirdest thing, and it was just a really bizarre.
How did he so I want to know how he reacted.
He tried to like act like he was confused, like he didn't know what I was talking about. And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Wow. But just the way his gait changed, and like it was so weird. It lasted, we're talking 30-40 seconds. He totally looked completely different.
All right. Now I have a question.
Away, yeah, go ahead. And I looked. Yeah, go ahead.
You looked away, so
I looked away, and then I looked back at him, and then he was different again.
He had popped back. So yeah, that's another thing about the shifting. It seems to like it's like cloaking, and we're good. Like it pops back into. And so a lot of times they'll do like camera cuts, and there's the one where they yell at the girl in her ear, and she kind of hisses too. So it's called the hissing reporter a lot of times. But that one, she hadn't pre-read the story, and she starts shapeshifting, and it's clear she has a different face, and it's not human. And it's that one for me really does it. But so now you say his gait changed.
Oh yeah. He
forgot himself. He forgot himself for a minute, and he
was completely a different being.
Wow.
Like, again, wow. I'm pretty well experienced with these kinds of technologies, and after my post-Mormonism, so I knew it
My
wasn't that.
post-traumas. No,
It wasn't
no,
that. It
no.
wasn't.
That's
It wasn't.
yeah,
It's the doing these kinds of things. It's not what people think it is. It's not what the movies pretend it is. And if you haven't really done it, you don't really know. It's not like that. You know, you
right.
don't see a Wookiee when there's not a Wookiee. It's not. This dude straight up was still walking next to me, a foot and a half away. He his neck curved over more, his head pitched forward. Like he looked like you. Okay, I'll put it this way. Think of like a velociraptor from Jurassic Park with a smaller face,
Mm.
like a more narrow face, like a flatter face, and shorter with like more humanoid arms without the tail. And it, like imagine that walking, how what that would look like. That's what he looked like when he was walking. A
Um,
velociraptor without a tail, but with like humanoid arms. That's what
last
he looked like.
last night I was coincidentally I've been on a He-Man kick because of the power of Grayskull that they use. I have an upcoming video about that. But the point is, last night I was looking at He-Man characters, and I'm gonna pull them up right now because I want to see if this is what he looked like. Because I visualize what you were talking about, and there it's something in our consciousness, like it's deep in there. We kind of have this knowing that we don't really like accept as like, I don't know, it's part of the conditioning. Okay, I can't find one that's here. I'm just gonna sorry. I wish I was better at
No.
this. Here we go. I'm almost got it. Okay. And okay. So like there's
Oh man.
see the elongated neck, the like
Okay, so take away the traps. Like he didn't have like the super muscular traps. Take away the tail and take away the green skin and like imagine that
so
walking.
he looked his skin was regular color.
Yeah, he still looked flesh colored. Again, it was dark. It was raining. There was lightning
Right.
everywhere.
And but it's like he forgot himself for a minute. Now, when you said, "Whoa, dude, you look like," what'd you say? He looked like a frog.
I said you look like a frogman or something, and he like looked at me and goes, "What?" And like I could still see his face was like it was flat. Like you know how humans have a open round mouth when they open it.
Oh, it was
was
like
a
flat across, like as
yeah.
if like Terrence and Phillip from South Park.
Yeah, no, kind of like it was, yeah, very much so like that. But like he like looked at me like that, and he's like, "What?" And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "You look like a reptile man." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm just like persistent, like, "Dude, you totally look like a reptile right now." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about," and he just kept walking. And he like, and then I looked away, and then he was back to
Normal.
himself. Yeah,
Now,
which is funny
why did
because
you?
this dude
Yeah, go
ended
ahead.
up this dude ended up screwing me over big time.
I was going to ask
So
why did you have falling out, if you don't mind?
yeah, we he got addicted to some stuff that you know you don't even have any business being around, and
Right.
like that was pretty much it. Like he just got really bad into drugs and just was like, nah, man, like meth
Interesting.
and things like that,
Yeah,
and he ended up kind of like, I don't want to say screwing me over too bad, but just like kind of just choosing drugs over the you know
it happens.
he
Yeah.
yeah he had a son that died from a heroin overdose. He had
Oh,
another son that was addicted, so he had a lot of issues going on, and he just
was
could
he a lot
never.
older than you, I guess?
Yeah. He was like maybe 10 years older than I am.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he got into a lot of like hardcore drugs and stuff like that, and so I was like, all right, man, you know where
What
my limits are.
what line of work was he in? I mean, uh was he the technician of the was he the lysergic
No,
pharmaceutical?
no.
No, okay.
That was from a that was. I saw another apothecary specialist for that. But no, he was not. He was not a technician. He
Okay.
was not a pharmaceutical technician. No,
Okay.
we worked in the restaurant business.
Okay. So he was just a regular dude. Just
Yeah,
regular
just a regular dude.
regular dude. And see, because all right, so that's one of the questions that people have asked before, like what, you know, because it seems like our elite seem to be, well, not so much, human. And so why would a just regular dude? But I think that, I mean,
Hybrids, maybe?
yeah, well, maybe. And I think that just like humans have various levels of competency, I'm sure any other beings do as well. Like they have some that are in power and some that are,
Mhm.
just losers. I don't like to use that word, but I mean, down and out people that stay down and out and they just never seem to, and so I think that reptilian shapeshifter beings would attach themselves to, like, something that was human, that I don't know. I don't even know that people necessarily and there's the question of, was he like that way permanently? Was he born like that? Was there something that attached itself to him, and why? I mean, there's a lot of details to have to know, but that's an interesting experience, dude.
He was a really, we were friends because we worked in a restaurant together. That's how we met.
Okay.
I was a bartender and he worked in the kitchen, and
All
so
right.
we just got to know each other.
He was back of the house, though. See, he was back of the house. You were front of the house, so you were socialized with people, and to be a bartender, you have to be, to be a good bartender, you got to be personable, and he was in the back. He was a cook.
Yeah, he was a cook. Yeah, this was.
I mean, that means he didn't interact with people, so that says a lot.
No, he had
That's
to. Okay, so I'm pretty open minded. I can be friends with anybody, right? So
Yeah,
Ninja
me
Turtles.
too.
You could tell he had been a lifelong hardcore drug user. Like the dude was rough. Like he was a rough 47. Like rough life. You could just see it all over his face. You know what I'm saying? Like sunken in cheeks, really bad teeth, just horrible teeth. Like, so the dude wasn't you're like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, we're friends. I don't base our friendship off of your appearance, but at the time I met him, when we became friends, he was not doing any hardcore drugs. So now I know people on here like argue about the lysergic technology being whatever. That's a whole nother argument. It comes from a fungus synthesized. I get it. We can have, but that's a whole nother discussion. I know where my limits are personally. If it's of the earth, whatever. That's a whole other discussion. So,
right.
But we're talking, this guy got into hardcore heroin, methamphetamines, and cocaine. So, like, when I say hardcore drugs, I mean those three. And
well, yeah.
So he started doing all those over the course of like the year and a half that we were friends, and just more and more started stealing. Started, did some drugs in my car that I was like, all right, dude, you're done. Can't be doing that shit in my car. So that's kind of like where it's like, all right, where my limits are. You cannot be doing that in my car. I went in my car.
Right.
He went and got loaded, left some stuff in there, and it was like, you're done. So it was kind of one of those things. Super intelligent guy, college educated, had been successful in life until he hit the drugs. But I think you're definitely right. It definitely makes sense that there's a quote unquote hierarchy of capacity, so to speak, amongst other beings.
Some more functional than others, and some more, maybe even a caste system, sort of, so to speak. I mean, that it makes sense that that's how our society, some places still are very much like they'll kill you if you associate with people outside your caste.
So this one, hold on, where you're scrolling, go right, okay, down. That one on the far left, the second one in from the far left.
This one.
Up, yeah.
This one?
Right there. Yeah. That's pretty close to what he would look like.
It's pretty
minus
freaking
the
creepy.
Scales.
Okay.
Imagine like he didn't have the scales, but that kind of look to him, but his head was a little more pitched forward.
I see. So like kind of more like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, like.
Yeah, like his head was a little more pitched forward than that. Like it was, and the way he was walking, you know how somebody with webbed feet would walk, like that big plump.
I never thought about how webbing would affect how you walked. Yeah, that's bizarre to think about.
But you see what I'm saying? No, there was like this weird gait. It was elongated from what he was normally, because he's not any taller than I am. I'm 5'11", so it's not like I'm super tall, super short. we're the same height. Yeah, think like that, like minus the tail though. No
Yeah.
tail.
Well, and he was wearing clothes, so
And he was wearing clothes. But imagine now, like either having like a tri-foot, like 3 feet, or webbing, kind of combination of your feet, and you're walking, and it's already wet out, it's slippery. You have awkward shoes on. I mean, that was how he was kind of walking. I just noticed your the thinker is wrong in your picture.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's not my picture, it's testimonials. But yeah,
Oh, testimonials. It's quote unquote wrong.
quote unquote
Okay,
wrong, right?
so on the far right in the middle.
Oh, right here? No,
Okay, imagine that gate. Yeah.
this guy?
That
No,
one,
this
yeah.
guy. Yeah.
No, far right.
This one.
Yeah. Imagine that kind of gate. That he was walking like that.
That's
minus
creepy
the tail.
as shit, bro. Because see, that's exactly how. I mean, when you said his gait changed, that really struck me. Because that's not something that you just do. Like the famous Bigfoot, the film of the Bigfoot where it's a female Bigfoot and she's like kind of strolling away, but her arms are so long and they kind of glide at her sides as she's turning. They tried to reconstruct that with humans, and the gait was impossible. It was impossible, even with like alterations with like robotic, like it wasn't doable for a human to naturally stride like that, and it was just because of the anatomy. So that's creepy, man.
Imagine that
I mean,
kind of is how he was kind of walking down. His head was kind of bobbing up and down as he walked.
yeah,
bizarre, eh?
well, and okay, so also his reaction creeps me out because you said, whoa, because you said there were a lot of frogs around, and you said you looked like a frogman. You were associating, rationalizing what your mind was.
Oh, we're talking like literally in a square foot radius, there was probably 4 to 6 frogs, toads. They're not frogs; they're toads.
Right.
Arizona, we don't have in Arizona. We have these river toads, and so anywhere you get near a wash, you're going to get a ton of river toads in that time of year.
Okay. Well, and recently they've been discovering all kinds of new frogs and toads and stuff. And the weird part is I've seen several where they thought they had misclassified, or they thought it was a new frog, but then it basically shapeshifted into a new texture. And they were like, oh, wait, that's a toad. No, it's a frog. No, and so they are wondering now if they've always been wrong, or maybe more realistically, it quantum changed, and that frogs and toads are sort of have the texture shape-shifting abilities to be basically the same animal. But I don't know. It's just thoughts that I've had. But so when he said, like he tried to act like, what are you talking about? Like, but you said right away you felt like he was trying to act like that, like he didn't know.
He definitely acted weird. Like, I mean, I played poker with the guy, played chess against the guy. Good
things to think about. Yeah, his poker face.
I know his. Like, I know his tells. And
know his tells exactly.
But it wasn't. It was Mike, but it wasn't Mike. It was like we looked at me and he was just like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, it reminded me, and I think maybe this what clicked is that the scene in They Live, where the face is like, and it's like, "What's your problem?" Oh, it was kind of like that. Like I looked at him, like I saw the real him. He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm a frogman." Like trying to lie about being a frogman, even though he knows I could see it. Like, what's your problem, man? Just roll with it.
So, did your rational mind just like let you decide cognitive dissonance for the rest of the evening, or the rest of your knowing him? Like from that?
No, I teased him about it for like ages after that.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, after the technology wears off.
The technology, the lysergy.
Like the next day, like
So you would call him. You would call him
state.
like frogman. What would you call him? Like lizard?
I was like, do you remember when you turn into a reptile man or a frog man? And he's like, no, I don't remember that. So he would always he never remembers it the way I do.
Wow.
Apparently.
Well, Man, dude. So it seems like now the technology, the lysergic technology that you guys were into that night,
Uh-huh.
was it particularly visual? Like,
Not at all.
okay, so it was more mental. See, that makes me think. And during this technological event, would you say it was the peak of that technological lysergic?
No, this was the very beginning.
Okay.
This is the very beginning.
Okay, so it was right when it sort of began. The initial.
Yeah. Literally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
As the ceremony began.
As the ceremony began, so
we entered the Church of the Holy Mind.
And I've heard a lot that people especially when they do ayahuasca and I mean ayahuasca, DMT is by far the most powerful hallucinogen. It is an intense experience, and it's like everything turns cartoony, fractal. It's
wow. I have no experience with that technology personally.
It's that technology. Well, it's definitely, you got to be ready for it. You can't just mess around. But I would say that for sure. And I've always been curious about this because that's never happened to me when I've used any kind of technology. I've never imagined myself as a lizard or as a reptile person, but many people do.
So
many people.
I'm a fun guy, friend.
Right. Yeah. I got fun guys that are I hang out. Yeah.
The last time I made a stew. Just leave it at that.
Okay.
I swear to you, I'm looking at the mirror, right? For anybody that's still listening, all these stories are true, 100% true.
Here, I'm
looking
gonna put the chat back up.
And I'm looking at the mirror, and in my left eye, I swear to you, it looked like there was like a piece of technology in my eye. Like some sort of like tech in my eye. Now, again, not super visual. It wasn't like a super visual experience. Not to self-promote. If anybody wants to see some of the stuff I drew or painted during some of these experiences, I do have an Instagram page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear? I'll put
the _pistol _
B as in baby as in
the
underscore. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Pistol.
PISTOL
_ Pete.
Pistol Pete. Okay.
And that's my Instagram. But you'll see some of the stuff that comes out of my mind when these experiences are going on, when I visit my apothecary specialists. So,
well, dude. Dang.
The sketches, there's a couple of sketches that was
during
this exact okay, so the exact day that I'm talking about with the reptilian, my buddy that turned into the frogman,
Mike.
One of the sketches that you could find on there is drawn that night with him.
With him? Like
yeah. He was in the room.
Did he know you were drawing him or that?
Yeah, he saw it. Like he saw it. He was drawing. He's an artist too.
How do I get to this? How I go to Instagram, and I'm not an Instagrammist, so Instagram like.com. I don't even know. And
do you not have the app?
No, I don't have the app, buddy. Thanks for letting everybody know that I'm an Instagram retarded. But no, I'll figure it out. Oh, it's cool. It's better to know ourselves.
It's no big deal. Anybody can search it out on their own if they really want. I'll send it to you. You can look at it.
Oh yeah. By the way, can we totally collaborate on probably more than one video about these experiences of yours? Because dude, I find it fascinating, and I feel like there is more that needs to be contributed from people who, in a video form, it would be perfect because people could comment, and then it would be good feedback. And I mean, I really just I love that you draw. That's amazing.
I will show. You know what? I have a theory about the time travelers, the original story, which got us all on here.
Yeah.
I believe. I'm a big fan of the show on History Channel, Ancient Aliens. Okay.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And like during like dark days of my life, right, I started watching Ancient Aliens a lot, and so um, that actually kind of helped me open my eyes to religion and just looking at things. When you replace the word angel for alien in the Bible, it just changes context and gives a different idea. That I'm not bashing on people's religion. That's not the point of this.
Right,
Point
right.
is I started looking at the world in more of like a technological sense, as far as like going back to these ancient civilizations. The Maya always fascinated me. Obviously, having lived there, I visited the ruins in Tikal twice. One occasion just prior to meeting this guy that was the time called himself the time traveler, and one occasion about 2 months after that. So I'd been there twice, seen the ruins twice, and as you know, I spent 2 years in Guatemala. It's a completely magical land, all up and down. Just it. You can't understand the scope of what the Maya were doing until you stand there and you look, and you think there are no quarries for this stone. It had to be dragged in on wheelless carts. Like there's no way that they did it that way. Like the typical archaeology just does. There's no way.
Right.
You walk around, those jungles are so thick.
Exactly. And well,
Unbelievable.
and Peru. I mean, like the one in the mountains. What's it called? Machu Picchu.
Well, there's Machu Picchu. Then there's where they found the legend of Viracocha, where he would. Oh man, what is the one?
Tenochtitlan? No, that's not the one.
Well, Tenochtitlan is in Mexico, I believe.
Right, that's right. I always get it mixed up.
There's Teotihuacan. There's Tenochtitlan. There's Machu Picchu. There's oh gosh.
Well, anyway,
I know exactly which one. I know exactly what you're talking about. But you look at it and it's just think, wow, this is incredible. So my theory is one idea that I have that we could do a video on is that the Maya had some sort of ability to use. They would build these pyramids the way they would. They all face each other as some sort of like holographic telepathy machines. So think of they would get themselves in sort of like a frequency-induced trance. However they want to do it, they had ayahuasca. They had all sorts of natural ingredients to do these things. They had the right technologies. Let's say it that way.
Right.
And so, but I think they also had technologies that we don't understand in a literal sense as well. And they would put themselves in these trances and they would communicate with the other chiefs to the other temples, because some of these temples we're talking 30, 40 miles away. And they could communicate with the other chiefs during the certain solstice ceremonies because the frequency of the earth was just right. And this goes into Tesla's vortex telepathy technologies.
Right. Well, and the unified field,
very well.
All of that. Right. Okay, that would make sense. And the thing is, if there's been quantum, time moving about of some infiltrators, they would be in that. I mean, they could easily have been there, being the propagators of that. I mean, it's
all you would need is just think about where we've come in the last. I mean, shoot, I'm 37. Think about if you took your cell phone right now and you went back 60 years, you'd blow people's minds. They would be absolutely dumbfounded with what you had in your hand. So if we push out 50 years from now, maybe if that person came back to the Mayans, they would be blown away. Like something so simple to somebody in the year 2030 to the Mayans in the year 1300 blow their mind. Or
right. Well, and I don't think. I mean, I don't think they present themselves as people at all. I think I don't know. Who knows what they do? But
the ancient astronaut theory is very, very much related. And so,
absolutely. Getting
into this whole area, summing up, going to see the ruins in Tikal, you have Y2K, which I think maybe now could have been the catalyst of the whole Mandela Effect, glitch in the matrix syndrome. I don't remember hearing about CERN ever before the year 2000. I don't. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I don't.
Don't talk about my friend like that.
So I get in there, and so you have Y2K, and then this weird lake that's known for having weird whirlpools appear out of nowhere. Dude arrives on a bike, says his name is Cain, says he's a time traveler, says he's there specifically for me. And by the way, at the time I was a Mormon missionary, and at the time of the telling of the original story, there was no technology-induced usage. So I was very, 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 very much straight edge Mormon kid at the time. So,
Can I interject something just really quick?
Go ahead.
Just had a thought.
Yeah.
And excuse the crows. That's all I hear these days.
Oh my God, those crows are like on the phone with us, man.
Okay,
Dang.
well, I had to come outside. You know me.
That's creepy. I've never heard crows on the phone
Ugh.
with you. That is creeping me out, dude.
I
I'm
thought
sorry.
you had. All right.
Uh-uh.
Well, here's my interjection. Here's my thought. Okay, that crow could be
Continue.
quiet,
No,
but here's my thought. If this guy, okay, who claims to be Cain, okay, right? And we're gonna assume that it's what he says, and he's saying he's a time traveler, then he would have a way to go away from the flood and all of that business. He would have a way to run from that through time and maybe have that ability, perhaps.
I think so.
I mean, I'm just saying,
definitely.
like thinking outside the box to some degree.
Well, see, I think
Sis?
definitely, and I think that we have to consider that, that's what time travelers do. They're not necessarily people at all. They may, they may look like it occasionally, but I don't know. But anyway, and I don't know that we can't really make the assumption entirely that his name was Cain. I think that it was probably more likely that was a code he had decided on to give you a clue about who he was, or to put your mind into perspective immediately about who he was and what he was there for.
Have either you or Testimonial or anybody that's still listening, are you familiar with the movie called The Man from Earth?
But I'm writing it down.
Okay, so
almost
kind of
afraid to
tying
because of my crows out here, but I need to look that up. It's vaguely
an
familiar.
interesting. It's a super interesting movie. So my buddy Mike, the reptilian frogman, introduced me to this movie, and we watched it together before he lost all his mind on all the
right before he went that way
on all the heroin and stuff. Anyway, so we watched this movie, The Man from Earth. To sum it up, this guy, it's a philosophical debate between some academics, and this man claims that who anatomically looks like a human, but somehow he had some sort of genetic mutation where he doesn't age past the year 35. Whoa. So he's been 35 since the year 10,000 BC. And they are asking him all these different questions about all his travels and so on and so forth. It's an interesting movie. He ends up saying he was Jesus, and he was just trying to teach Buddhist teachings, and people misinterpreted it. But then he taught himself like breathing techniques to make himself appear dead, and then so he can't die. Anyway, it's an interesting movie.
That's fascinating.
Also, biker Jesus. So I just sit here and I go, okay, when it related to Testimonial's comment about Cain, in the way, this guy that in the movie, he never dies, right? Isn't he really kind of a time traveler? So Cain, who could never die, going from straight the biblical sense,
gotcha,
would also be a quote unquote time traveler. So he could satisfy the conditions in both aspects, both in a metaphoric sense and in a literal sense, because time would mean nothing if our biology suits never ended. Because we know we are infinite beings. I don't care what you believe in. We are infinite beings.
We are infinite beings.
There's just no way around it. We have a consciousness. There's something to us.
There is no end.
Will.
There's no end. There's only an outcome of things, and it continues going. I had a thought, so that made me think about how the theory and the evidence of the possible, that Cain's father wasn't Adam, but in fact the serpent that Eve met in the Garden of Eden.
Well, there's a lot of theories, and now Testimonial, you seem pretty like you're pretty good on the Bible. There's a lot of theories.
That was your cue, Testimonial.
That the snake is the original sin is sex, and the snake was infidelity. There's a lot of metaphors that you could get into the genesis of Eve actually was unfaithful to Adam, creating the human race, and instead of like being a super race of what Adam and Eve were originally, she's enticed, something along those lines. I've heard different stories around it, where the snake is a representation of like a phallic, and it was her.
Right.
it was a sexual misdeed by Eve that created, which would go along with what you just said, affected. Like it was a sexual misdeed that created Cain, apparently.
Right. Well,
Well,
yeah, go ahead. And
I'm
I
gonna have
turned
to
him.
go inside because this thing is gonna get on my nerves. I don't think he wants me to speak or something. It's eerie.
Yeah, it is
Every time I
eerie.
talk, he's crowing, and when I mute it, he shuts up. But wherever he is in the tree.
He be talking again.
Yeah. I wanted to add something, but let me go inside real quick and I'll do that. Seriously, it's relative. It is so
Because I can hear it. I can hear
I
it on
know.
my
It's
end,
like-
like pretty dang loud.
Wow, man. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, it's something. Let me go inside and I'll add to the thought about Cain and Adam and Satan and Apple. It's actually something another told me about
Yeah,
her
I was hoping
her
you'd bring
thoughts
that up.
on it, and it's pretty interesting. Let me just
Yeah.
run back
That
there.
thing is going bananas. That thing is going crazy.
I know. I
Okay,
know.
now
Is there bread in
somebody
your pocket?
It's
so-
crazy.
somebody brought up. Wait, why am I? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. Somebody
Yeah,
brought
I
up somebody brought up in the chat room Lilith, and I would like to point out that in my studies of the Apocrypha and the Bible, I have a whole bunch of Bibles. I was not raised with religion at all. Like it was, I was a clean slate, and then but you know, Mandela Effect, and I just like tore into it. So I like the Bible, but it has changed a lot. And one of the things is that Lilith is completely absent in from the Apocrypha even now. The only mention, in fact, of Lilith anymore, because Lilith was, of course, the first woman who was made well, and that changed too. It seemed like to me because it seemed like that originally Lilith and Adam were made at the same time, but then Lilith was made from like a scraping of his, I don't know, it wasn't a bone like Eve, but anyway, Lilith became a demon of sorts because she didn't want to be subordinate to Adam, and basically the lullaby is a Lilith by. It's like Lilith passed my baby by, and so it's there's a dark history that seems to have become legend from possible ancient actual happenings of sorts that it's lost to history. But the only time Lilith now appears is in the Kabbalah. So I find that very telling because I feel like that Kabbalah is basically the elites, little secret club, like kind of agenda. It seems Luciferian to me. It seems like a front of some dark, ish stuff. But testimonial, are you ready?
Yes, I am. All right. um, all right. So another who shared a deeper thought about Adam and Eve was she said, when that happened in the garden, that, they say there was a bite of the apple taken, right? And you get a visual image of it being literal. Okay, an apple, and then some have argued a pomegranate. Okay, that's neither here nor there. That's the fruit. But when she thought of the forbidden fruit, she thinks it went deeper and had sexual connotations surrounding what its meaning was. It wasn't just a literal, could be, but she didn't feel it was, because when you get into the fact that, you had Cain and Abel, and Cain was not of his father. It was referenced, he was the father of all lies. If you had been of the father, you would have known me, is referenced towards him. But Abel was, and when he killed Abel, that was trying to thwart, that was Satan's attempts at trying to thwart a bloodline for Jesus to enter in. And she felt that Satan entered in and essentially may have seduced Eve. And she said, there are reports scientifically of a female, a woman can get pregnant and sometimes have twins. And if the timing is right, have one with one man and one by another. And she felt like essentially that may have been what happened, that she didn't know if it was kind of a menage a trois. And I don't mean to offend, she's just throwing out some, like, this is what I've heard. I'm thinking on it deeper. What if? But it resonated that I was like, oh, wow. When you really get behind what you take literally and think of that bigger picture, of course, according to that, Satan is always trying to thwart efforts um, to not be conquered. Evil essentially itself in general doesn't want to be conquered by good. So it was starting way back, is what she's saying. And so, and she felt like that's why God interjected. Do not go after Cain, like it stops here, like the buck stops here. We can't continue to have the hatred where you go after him for doing something. So it's got to stop here. Anyone who goes after him is going to be accursed. Let's go a new direction. And he gave them Seth, I believe it was. So he gave them a new way. And that's how she was relaying that to me. So anybody have thoughts on that? It's kind of deep. It's kind of deep, but that's why I was thinking, let's just hypothetically all say that, that's plausible, to some degree. And that's why I was thinking, okay, he didn't want no one going after him. For that reason, perhaps he had the ability because of something being of, if Cain was of Satan, he would have had some kind of supernatural type of spirit with, just something different. He wouldn't have been just human only in composition and makeup. That's why I was
Yeah,
thinking
see, that's the whole thing. Like that is, and that story. Okay, that story in particular. Brother Zark said it's not our basic story. The Adam and Eve is not the deepest the rabbit hole goes. I would say that's I don't know. I've always just had this weird feeling about that whole story. It's so metaphoric. It's so like it's vague, and it doesn't work for me as having been a real event. It's just got too many metaphors and too much symbolism, and so it's, I don't know, it's cryptic. That's, I guess, the word I'm looking for. It's cryptic. And so it being the most cryptic part of all of that, could it be that story is maybe an insert onto, it's an entirely new addition to our original timeline that we'll never know. And in fact, it was the pivotal moment in our human history is what it's symbolizing. Does that make sense? Like, and that Cain, in fact, was the, whatever have you, reptilian seed that, tainted the whatever. I don't it's all so metaphoric.
Yeah, we all have like different interpretations based on our belief. I understand and respect that. It's throwing out. We're all throwing out, working out plausible.
Right. We're just brainstorming. It's like trying to make up. It's like watching a movie a million times, and then you start coming up with fan theories. That's what I feel like we need to all be doing with what we know about our world, because we know this world, like, right? I mean, so when we see it like kind of change, it's like, let's go re-examine everything. And if I could make this a little bit more lighthearted here, I've been using the example of He-Man. Okay, so He-Man, everybody knows, would say, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, and like some lightning would come to him from the Castle Grayskull, which, if you recall, is a very creepy looking gray skull of a castle, and it basically is where Skeletor lives, who's a skull-headed zombie man who's blue. I mean, it seems like Grayskull is evil. So if He-Man thereby is getting the power of Grayskull, and that makes him strong and turns his Granger or whatever into a beast, and She-Ra would say for the honor of Grayskull. And so anyway, my point is that is a discrepancy in the story, and we all like look over it like, oh well, we don't know. And the official story from the Mattel Corporation is that it was left to the children to decide whether or not Grayskull was neutral, or which side they were on, because it was supposed to be neutral. But I'm sorry, that thing doesn't look neutral, and it isn't neutral.
Right. Can I inject something for a commenter just so they understand where like I'm coming from based on
I'm sorry. And I didn't mean
no,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I'm just looking right now and I don't want them to misunderstand me. I think it's Babylonia.
That's Matthew.
Okay, wants me to please look and listen to the Book of Jasher, more so information on Cain and Nimrod and Noah. Yes, I understand that. I was just sharing what another shared with me, her thoughts, and wanted to just essentially put that out there as another thought to think on. No one has to if that's not what they're ascribed to, not at all. I do know they said also that they were saying that Cain had, I think she also said, yes, where did she go? Her comment that perhaps he had repented at a time, and for a time, his lineage was, let's see, she says, Cain actually repented, and many of his children and lineage were good for a time. Well, okay, it's just one thought process that another had brought to me. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew. All right. Not like trying to lecture or whatever, but or come across unhumble about it. I just wanted to make it clear.
I understood.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's so easy to get misunderstood and to misunderstand each other. And I think we should wrap it up, you guys, because I actually I have an appointment. But thank you very much for coming on the show, Peter, and talking about your incredible freaking
bizarre
dude. There's got to be something to it. We got to figure it out.
I think we need to do some research. I'm going to do some research on that lake, and maybe we can come up with a cool video about that area of the world, just as far as time travel in general.
Definitely. I would love that. And it's been so nice to meet you.
Yes, this has been awesome. Anybody that watched, I know we may not people not agree with some of my methodology or whatever, but everything I said 100% true. I still have my missionary journal, pictures. This isn't some publicity stunt. So thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on, and thank you everybody for being here. And I love you guys. Everybody, keep seeking truth, and know that we can't know the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So continue seeking nonetheless.
Yeah, and I'm gonna look into that. Maybe I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I will look into that. I appreciate you sharing it. I hope I didn't come across rude. I just wanted to make comment on it so I didn't come across
rude.
That was my firm stance solely. It's not solely. So, but I have thought on it. I have thought on it, and I have pondered it. So
it's a ponderous one. Oh, Mandela Effect comedy. We're leaving. We're saying goodbye. Thank you guys all for being here. And I'm sorry that I was not attentive to the chat today. I feel like I missed everything, but I'm gonna go back and watch and read. And what's up, Cancun Rich? All right. Well, hey, thank you, Miss Freedom. Thank you guys for being here.
And I kind of had to step out and take a break for a moment, so I might have missed a little bit of the chat too. But everybody so far, it seems to me, everybody's doing great. I think so.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, I feel like that there's real good vibes, and
feels like the vibes are better.
Before we go, I have a random question for Zark. Zark, is that you? Are you like, you're like a huge bodybuilder? Like that's you, like in your picture? Because I was just like, whoa. I mean, I don't know. I figured that your picture was just like a model. And sorry, it's kind of a random question. It's weird, but anyways, 23, 24 might be crazy. Remember when Satan offered all the kings of the earth to Jesus? He would just bow down because it was cast on here. Anyone were like, that's a good point. Been in the military for 17 years, just living my old dreams now. You're a poet, dude. Oh my gosh, all my emails from AC goes automatically in the trash. What? Did you find them though, Jenny? Bye, Q shots.
Oh, wow.
What?
You know, Salted made the comment, and it just kind of stood out. He said, remember when Satan offered all the kingdoms of earth to Jesus? Yeah. If he would just bow down and he didn't do it, according, you know, to our the Bible. So how could he do that? How could he offer this? Because it's his, like, you know, and he was cast down here. So he said some people kind of overlook that or may want to, but I just thought I'd share. It's just interesting. It's interesting to think about everything that everyone has to share.
Yeah, well, and yeah, I really appreciate everybody sharing. And
Shout out to the crowd, DJ.
to the crow.
No. Yeah, oh yeah, crow, not crowd. Crow, you want me to step back outside, see if he tells you bye? Hold on.
The black crows.
We'll go outside.
Thank you,
Just see if he
Icy
says bye real quick.
Yeah, we'll end on that. Okay. In another reality, you didn't. Hee hee hee.
Hey, Crow, are you out here? Are you gone?
You got to speak crow.
Oh, man.
All right.
I think he's gone. I think he only wanted to be on when he came on the show.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Interrupting crow.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, much love to everybody. And we'll see you guys all next time. You know what? Let's go ahead and just try to do Wednesdays and Saturdays chat and see how it goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that
Thank
crazy?
you, Rich and Susan. That's cool.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I don't know if I'm responsible enough for all that commitment yet, but I'll see.
We got a speeder in the background, not a crow. But we've got someone tearing up the road.
See you in the next timeline, Mandela Effect comedy, and you'll be named something totally different. Comedy Mandela Effect. All right. What time? Oh, you know, it's always going to be like, I mean, I don't want to say a set time, but I would say noonish for like morning to afternoon start time for USA and afternoon to evening start time for UK. I would say, like, let's keep it vague, cryptic.
Yeah, we're in different time zones anyway, so we've
Right,
got to
right.
coordinate.
And I'm just.
Oh, he come back. Did you hear him?
What? For real?
The crow come back. I heard him for a minute. Oh man, he was in the distance. I heard it a minute ago. He might be on it when we listen back to it, so we'll see. Well,
God bless
a
you
nice
too,
little
Rose.
bird that has come to visit me. I'll go ahead and mention this. I've had an experience real quick with hummingbirds a couple of times, and we don't have them around. I mean, it just showed up in front of me the one day, and I thought, I don't know, I just thought it was so cool. Much rather kind of hear the other birds, you know what I mean? Not just the crow. I'm not trying to pick on them, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they pick on me. So.
Dave Buckner, did you change your handle like during the talk today? Because I swore, or did I just know you were Dave Buckner, like in my mind, and I didn't even read it anymore. I just was like, "What up, D?" That's because otherwise I feel so Mandela right now. Like you changed your handle, but when, sir? When? Parting is such sweet sorrow, or has that been changed? Charlie. Oh, keep your eyes in the skies.
Ooh, I heard Private Eyes has been changed. And I had an experience personally. Can't prove it. It was personal.
X-Files music. Sorry.
Well, other than the fact that someone else heard it at the same time the one night, what it was, we were listening to Private Eyes, and there's a line where it says, "It sees your lies." It's watching your lies, and it changed. It sounded like it said he's watching your lies, and I was like, whoa,
Oh.
yeah. So I double checked it the next morning. I played the very same thing, and first off the bat, it was it sees your lie, or it's watching your lies. I have to I think it's watching.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
when I
And
did
then it went to he, and then it went back to it. And I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done.
there was a Philip K. Dick quote that I didn't put in the video that I did about him, but I plan on bringing up the PKD in future videos. But he had a quote that he always looked at, and it was the same letters, but they were rearranged, and it says, either says God is nowhere, or it says God is now here. And on that note, we'll leave you today. Thank you so much for being here.
Singing voice, your singing voice.
Wait, what? Well,
a song.
Oh no, not
Ah,
you guys. I put music like that. I sang 2 different songs on the video of that I just put out this morning. So I will have to leave you with that because. But you know, if you, I mean, I have no choice but to listen to my Patreon supporters. So just saying, like, that's a way that you can make me sing, force me. So anyway, much love, you guys. I guess we'll see you guys next time. Say goodnight, Gracie.
good night. We're on a live show, son.
Say goodnight, Gracie, by the way.
Beep,
It's
beep,
no
beep,
longer
beep.
around.
Yeah, real PG. 13. Well, there you
All right.
go.
All right, bye, you guys.
Wrap it up. Yeah, I was gonna try to play a little bit, but we'll go. And
Oh,
rounds will get all your music, right?
Why are you talking like that?
all right. Bye,
Right.
everybody.